And they moved all the timber off.
Yeah, we're doing that,
All right, we're ready to go. Let's call to order the July 17th Rankin County Board of Supervisors meeting. We'll begin this meeting with invocation from Mr. Slade, please.
I'm sorry. I went back the next day, but they back in the way.
Father, thank you for this occasion that you've provided for us, this day that you've made for us, Lord. Thank you that we can come together, conduct the business of the county in a way that's servant-hearted, Lord, that's looking out for the best interest of our citizens. Thank you, Lord, for these men, for the wisdom and discernment that you give to them freely. I pray, Father, that you will bless them today, honor their time today, Father. Help them to think wisely. Help them to think long-term about the best interests of the county. Father, thank you for the folks that serve us on a weekly basis in our community, the ones that protect us and preserve our way of life. I thank you, Father, for the freedoms that we enjoy and the sacrifices that are made so that we can enjoy those freedoms. In Christ's name, amen.
Public comments and recognition. Ms. Chaz, anyone on that?
No.
Great. We'll go straight to old business. Entertain a motion
Approved.
for old business.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Morrison to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Consent agenda.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Morrison. Any discussion on the consent? See no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Ms. Fortenberry.
I think I'm going to have to be John and Judy today.
All right.
They're
All right,
at
Ms.
the
Law.
conference. Under Judy's section, authority to publish notice of the Rankin County 2016 tax sale to be held on August 28th, 2017, and to publish a separate notification informing the citizens that we're going to do the online format.
So moved.
Great. Got
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Morrow and a second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with the like sign.
Thank you. Under John's section, the first thing is petition for change of assessments of 2016 on the real property assessment roll.
Motion approved.
Second.
Entertain a motion from Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item
The
B.
next item is request to void 2016 tax sale and respectfully request that the tax collector's office refund the property owner for PIN number 7911 due to the homeowner's homestead being deleted in error.
So moved.
Great. Entertain a motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item C. Sharon, item C, is that both as B and C? Okay.
No, C had been taken off, and I'm sorry if that.
I was going to say, I don't have a seat.
C's not on
C's
the
not
agenda?
on here.
No.
C's not on it?
Wonderful, it makes that one easy.
They really seen it there.
All right, Ms. Harris?
That C we're looking at really isn't there.
Right.
It's not on mine.
I thought I was seeing double over here, I didn't know what was going on. All right, Ms. Harris,
Good morning.
good morning.
I have one item this morning. I have a bid recommendation for a bid open at the last meeting for an asphalt paver. My recommendation is to award it to Mid-South Machinery. It's a Leeboy 8500D, unit price $126,990 with a 36-month buyback of $59,990.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Morrison. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
That can get delivered tomorrow, right, Bridget? I'm just kidding.
30 days.
All right, Mr. Parker.
It's not raining, so we want to get it here before.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Morning. First item that I have on the agenda is this time again for our annual bridge inspection. And I'm recommending approval of the execution of the program agreement and the project order. There is no cost to the county on this. I believe the total cost of the project is about, hold on just a second.
So moved.
41,300, but it's paid out of the off funds.
Okay, great. Got a motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Bishop. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign.
And I will need all of your signatures before you leave today because everybody has to sign it and they want everything back at state aid by
Okay.
the end of the month.
Buster, do we have any bridges right now that are failing inspection or
No, sir, not that I'm aware of.
I just wanted that for the record. That,
Yeah.
can't
Right.
say that in very many counties.
That's true.
Can't
That's
say that
very
about
true.
any of them.
And they,
Right.
they're constantly saying good things about Rankin County and the maintenance that's done and so forth, and upkeep, and what the supervisors are doing to keep it up to the way it should be.
That'd be good headlines,
Thank you,
Chuck.
Mr. Parker. Item B on
You
Melamine.
pick up on that, Chuck? Sir?
Item B on Melamine.
Item B, Melamine, Phase 2, I'm recommending approval of those construction plans.
Board wish to entertain a motion?
Yes, I'll make the motion that we accept them, and then after I want some discussion on
Sure.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Gaines, second by Mr. Morrow. Discussion.
Melamine has a phase 1 that's been there for a good while now. Phase
Correct.
2 is the new construction, and it's about 55 lots.
Yes, sir.
By the end of phase 2, when the 50th, say, home has been finished, we need an exit for those 50 homes to where we don't put all that traffic down one lane in Melamine for emergency response and other reasons.
Correct.
And I've discussed this with the developer. He's good. We have a construction entrance that they're going to use.
They're going to utilize the construction.
Somewhere around that construction entrance will be another entrance into Melamine.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
Who's gonna maintain it?
It's going to be a county road.
The secondary entrance?
Yes.
Are they gonna build it to county?
They're going to
Yes, sir, they're going to build it
County
county,
Oh, they're doing a whole lot of
Yes.
road.
county
Yeah, it'll
specs.
be
One reason they're not wanting to do it, there's a lot of timber that's got to come out of there. and they-
400 loads about
Yes, sir.
that's got to come through, so we don't want to put something in there and tear it up.
Certainly not.
That's true.
Yeah.
One other thing on Melamine, I know you've approved the plans, but the developers here, they have requested gating that community. Not only gating this phase 2 that we're talking about, but gating the entire development. And the homeowners, so I'm informed, of the development are in favor of that. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna, let the developer come up here, or maybe someone with the homeowners association.
Well, is it gonna be turned into private then?
They haven't stated
If you
that.
gate it, it's gonna be a private.
It's not going to be a true gated. It's going to be like some of these others that you pull up and it opens. You're not going to need them. It's not going to have a passcode or something like that.
In the past, though, if we got a gate, if there's a gate there, it's not, it doesn't stay county. It goes by private.
Well, I have a couple in my district that are,
Really?
yeah, and I know you have some too. That where you just pull up and it opens. You don't have to have a card or a pass or a keypad. What it does is just,
It's never locked.
no.
It's never locked, a sense of security.
Then how does it become, what's the privacy part of it if the gate is not being, don't lock it?
Well,
It deters
Can we
crime.
find out who you are first?
yeah.
Yeah, state your name and address.
Oh, Robbie Pierce, one of the developers.
Okay.
I'm Jody Foster. I'm a partner in development.
Hey.
I'm Parker again with Jet Coat Fence.
So I know there's been some other developments that are starting to do this, and they have
Other
some
cities, yeah.
cameras that are being
We're doing that.
installed.
Yep.
And also, there's a guarantee that power goes out, the gates will be brought up. So who's going to back that?
Back the,
That the
Fact that
gates
they're
will
gonna open
operate
up.
when power's out?
I can speak to the technology that's built into today's gate operators that have them open when power's out. So what is being done most nowadays is the gate operator has logic built into it. So I can program it to do one of 3 different things when power goes out. Either I can set it to, as soon as it senses a loss in power, tell the gates to open and stay there until power comes back on, or it can continue, I can set it to continue to work as typical until the batteries get low, and then when they get low, they sense that and tell the gates to open and stay open. So the third option is just to stay closed and just fail when they fail, because nobody uses that option, obviously. But the gates don't technically run off the batteries. So the batteries are staying charged all the time, but when the power goes out, they do run off the batteries with the DC motor, so.
So I know there hasn't been a lot of these installed around here for a long period of time. So do we have any kind of maintenance program to make sure these batteries stay charged? Because, you know, they end up going dead whenever you need them, they won't operate.
That's right, you don't know it till power goes out.
Right.
and they open. So you know, we do offer, like most companies, a maintenance agreement where they're checked quarterly, and so you'll know it well before.
Who's gonna pay for that?
That's,
Homeowners.
yeah, done by the homeowner.
HOA.
That
But
was
Yeah.
something I would want to be in the record,
Uh-huh.
that if this is approved, the gates would never fall back to the county for
Right.
maintenance or
Or problems. And I
or
guess-
and
yeah.
if they don't work, and so they're not working, they're shut, and we have a fire, and a fire truck has to come, and they're not opening,
Well-
that fire truck's gonna go through them.
We didn't talk
And
about worst case scenario. If there is no power, there's still a lever
Yeah.
to pull up in the gate.
Is there a
manual
sheet?
lever?
There's not, you can't put one that has a shear pin.
Well,
that-
same difference. It's, you just have to get out of the truck, pull
Yeah.
a red lever up and the gate's open.
Yeah, I want to make one comment on that same side of that. From the fire department standpoint, I can't tell you how many times they come and gates just doesn't open for whatever reason. Somebody's either not breathing or home's on fire or something like that. I don't want the cost back on the fire department when they force entry on that gate to get access to that facility, because they're going to. I guess my point is, even though there's a safety lever switch and all that kind of, it's great in here where it's 75 degrees and plenty of light, but at 2 o'clock in the morning when it's raining and they can't get into an area, they're going to force entry on it. I don't want it coming back on the county saying, y'all need to pay for this gate they cut down, because they're not going to cut it easy. You know, what I mean, they're going to force entry.
Yeah.
They can't find the lever switch. They got a new crew on board. Whatever reason it is,
Right.
that's my issue on it, because I'm against the gates from the emergency response standpoint side of it. It's just not a favorable thing. You want it to work and you think it works, and it just, I can't tell you how many times it does. You know?
Is there a shear pin that
So I just want to.
I'm-
you hit it with a truck, it would?
I'm against gates if it's gonna, if it's on a public, that's a public street. I'm just against gates. That's because of some of the things you're saying. And I mean, I know they're gonna open automatically but, you know, we got them all over the place that are wanting to go in and put those there, but yet they still want a public street. They want us to maintain everything, but they want the side of basically a private, they want the cake and eat it too. They want a private side, but we want a public. We don't want to do any of the maintenance as far as the street goes. So that's kind of the way it is with me, one or the other.
The gates, the whole free entry design came up, I guess, about 5 years ago in other suburbs of Jackson. And the concept is to slow the vehicles down long enough to get a picture on a camera.
I think
And so,
that's great.
and that's really the main purpose of the gate, because even a crook with not much sense knows that they can get in a free entry gate. But that's the concept, is to get them on camera.
So the gate will never be,
There's no.
the homeowners can't just say, okay, after 12 o'clock, we're shutting it off.
No. There's no keypad.
Unless
Drive up to it, it
5
opens.
years down the line, the HOA comes back and says, now I'd like to put a keypad on this thing
Yeah.
to make it work a little bit better.
They
Well,
do
at that
that, then
point-
it'll be a
Outside
private
our
road.
line.
Well, at that point,
Then you've got your own road to take care of.
Yeah.
in a real life situation where I've done this in the past, 8 out of 10 times, the homeowners pin the gates open. And the gate's sitting there, and eventually they get tired
Of waiting.
stopping and waiting, and they pin them open. I mean, that's just my experience, and that's probably 70%.
So how, as far as the capturing the images, who's going to be responsible for housing those, deleting them? Who's doing that?
The camera system?
Yeah.
Would be the HOA,
So
running all that.
whoever they appoint to
Right.
be the.
Okay,
Okay.
does this open us up for everybody else that wants to come in and put gates in?
Mhm.
Once we start this route, we're gonna
Yep.
allow gates into the county.
Well, we've kind of already done it. You have some in your district,
Because
I
I
have
think
some
some
in
of them
mine.
has just done it.
I mean,
you
yeah,
know?
we've
They
done
just did
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have not.
It hasn't come to me.
No, I
That's
know
not
that.
private
I
road.
know, I know, but if we tell these guys no,
Yeah.
then that means we need to go out here on every
We don't wanna
public.
Well, I didn't know that we had some that
Some
were
of them
using
just
them.
done it.
Palisades.
Open up.
I think, hey, Bridgepoint. They just put them up. Bridgepoint's got it.
Bridgepoint's private.
It is private?
Yes.
Palisades has one now that's a faux gate with a free entry.
Right, so that one would be non-compliant.
Yeah,
That one
and-
Which one?
Palisades.
But Bridgepoint's private, so.
Yeah, I mean, and that's actually a code number, that's not a pull-up, you gotta know the code.
That's Bridgepoint?
Yeah.
Well, I think the
Well,
point
but that
they
is
start
private.
getting into that, then they gonna
I mean,
start
it's
maintaining
private,
the
I'm
road.
saying.
Yeah, but the fire department still gotta get in there.
I know.
Yeah.
See, with, Old Mill Place is private, down my way, and, but they got gates.
Right.
But it's
Do
private.
they have a keypad or is it free entry?
No, it's keypad.
Yeah.
It's
To
private.
me, when you lock it with a keypad, then you're taking ownership of the road and, I mean, of all of it. I mean, I can see the security and the homeowners in their pride of ownership. I mean, when you see somebody, a homeowner association that takes on the responsibility and expense of doing something like this, they also take on the responsibility of taking care of their subdivision. And we have a lot of subdivisions where they don't, I mean, they've abandoned their homeowners association, they've abandoned their retention ponds, because they don't feel like it's theirs.
And to answer your question, I think someone had a concern about if the fire truck does crash it, it's the homeowners, it's the homeowner association.
As long as the HOA.
As well as if a car dings it or
I'm with
crashes it as well. It's never-
We'll have 20 homeowners in here going, you broke our gate.
They will do.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they will.
We will.
Look,
I know
they
we
raise
will,
Cain
but-
when the flower bed gets tore up taking fire hydrant.
Yeah,
So much less a gate, so,
yeah.
and it's gonna happen at some point. As
My
long
neighbors-
as long as y'all are taking, the HOA is gonna put it back on them and create, I don't know how the wording needs to go, to where it's clear that any damage or stuff to that gate falls back on the HOA.
Let's be, for the record, so that it's clear on the record what's happening. The policy of the Board of Supervisors, longstanding policy has been that we do not allow any sort of gating of any kind where the roads interior to the subdivision will remain public. With the idea, the policy behind that being free and unfettered access to the public on a public road. So this would be a change in our standard policy. By allowing gates, then we need to talk about what sort of restrictions or conditions need to be set with respect to any gate. In other words, we're gonna allow gating across the public entrance, public street entrance. We've got to set some, what I would call
Guidelines.
guidelines for those gates. I don't know that we necessarily have to get into aesthetics, but there may be some
Like
some
no keypads?
mounting issues, some emergency access procedures, things like that we may want to look at. And so, if y'all are telegraphing that we need to start moving in this direction, and quite honestly, we're going, Steve, to your point, at some point,
We're gonna be there.
the pressure is going to get.
With the crime, I mean, there's, now, I mean, once a month, we see where there's car stealing or breaking in cars in these neighborhoods, and, we're getting it overflow from Jackson.
Yeah, but how's this gonna, if it opens automatically?
Well, they
how's
just
it
have to
stop
slow
that?
down enough that the video gets their tags.
Yeah.
And the tours, I mean, they go by a gated place, they're gonna go to the next
All right,
subdivision.
so Craig, let me do this. Let's entertain the motion on approval of the plat. Can we do that? And then come, because then you got to come back with a separate motion, am I right, to change the policy on gates?
Yeah, but we got a lot
Right,
of
or-
work to do to change the policy. We can't just go,
Well,
What-
the motion right here is to approve.
Is
the
there a
final
written
plat.
policy that says we don't have gates on our county roads?
No.
No,
No, sir.
Okay, so it's not a policy, but, so not in the change at that point then, right?
right.
So all we
We
need
just have
is-
to have a policy.
Yeah.
I think the state.
I mean, when we got them, when I have them already in my district, and at least 3 of us do, and then we say, we have a policy that you can't have them. Why didn't we went out there and tore those down?
how did they put them up?
They just put them up.
Put them up.
Go to some of my subdivisions and start tearing them down, see what happens.
Exactly.
I mean, I do not want to interfere with first responders. I mean, I want them to be where they can get there, and if they're closed, then we're just gonna tear them down. That's just, you gotta know that going in. I mean, same way with your house and your front door.
That's right.
But
That's probably
All
something
right,
we
let me
should
ask you
include
this.
in our policy.
You put
how to tear a front door down.
You put the gates up.
It doesn't work.
You put the gates up, and then later, since some of them put them up that
Yep.
we weren't aware of, and they put them up.
Yep.
Okay, what if we're not aware of, and they say, you know, these gates aren't doing us a bit of good if we can't lock them at night, and they start,
Well,
they then have it fixed
When
where
they
they
start
lock.
locking their gates.
Well, we won't know it.
Then, well, we'll know it.
We'll
I mean,
know it soon.
I mean, the sheriff's department, fire department, we'll know
They'll
it.
know it.
When they start
Yeah,
locking.
quite a while
When
before we know
they
it.
start locking the
Yeah,
gates,
after
then they own the road.
When they go to find
And
out,
the
they can't get in.
Mm-hmm.
right of ways, I mean, once they lock the gates, then it's their road. And it becomes private, I think.
But I'm with Steve, we need some kind of written, one way or the other, policy dictating that, other than just,
Well, it's been pretty easy before now. We
No,
just
just
didn't
said-
allow.
just
them.
said no.
Yeah.
But they're doing it, Jay.
I'm just saying though, you know, we didn't need one before because we didn't allow
I mean,
them. so
right on 471.
Right,
Do what?
Right
But-
in Palisade. I mean, they're just.
Step up.
I didn't know that they had already
Craig
installed.
just asked me if the gate was shown on the construction plan, and they are not. That's something I want to clear, make sure that y'all understand. Where they're talking about putting the gate is at the entrance of Melanie.
Phase one,
The phase.
which would be part of phase 1, 2, and even 3,
It'll be for everything.
if they go with 3.
Right.
The point being that you guys can go ahead and approve the construction.
Yes.
This matter of the gate, we can take up when we have an opportunity to really think about it.
Well, I'll say this, the people in phase 1 are bending for phase 2 if they can have something to slow down and be able to monitor the traffic, because they're fixing to double the size. I mean, they have about 40 houses or something in one, and this is 50. I mean, part of their deal is, we'll go along putting these extra cars through here if y'all will help us let us do our security measures.
Buster, what is the point of which number of houses that we require second entrance anyway?
Well, it's not really a set in stone number, because on some occasions where you didn't have a second entrance, we've required the build a ladder road.
Bubbles and stuff like
But
that.
we do have a second entrance.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I was just
it will
curious.
be, yeah.
I thought that, you know, there was some,
Typically, the feet of run, it's up over 900 feet. We need to see another plan of
Yeah.
attack.
Hmm.
Bubbles, we do cul-de-sacs.
We do anything to maybe see the vehicle could get through that during the emergency.
so really 100 houses is pretty much the, you know, no-brainer that there's going to be a second
Oh, it's
entrance.
got to be.
Okay.
They understand that.
I think y'all understand where we are, huh? So
Hey,
we'll
Right,
move
so in
forward
this
after
motion
this.
right here, Steve, it's your motion on the table, so.
Wait,
tell
wait.
me-
Wait a minute.
Well, my motion is to accept the construction plans.
Right,
I
that's
guess
all we're doing.
that we need to handle that. I mean, we have handled, we've
Right.
handled it and we're under discussion. The next thing would be, I would say county-wide, or how we're gonna handle gates that are not obstructing traffic. It obstructs I mean, we can put a stop sign up anywhere in the county, but we're having problems with putting a slow down sign up, which is a gate, when it opens. And the people that are wanting it are the people that take care of the county the best, to me. I mean, this is
Okay, well,
folks that care about their properties.
let me ask you this, if you got just use, for instance, where I live, it's a dead-end road. There's only people that live down there, me and my family.
Yep.
Public road.
Yep.
If I put across a gate there, if I put a gate there that was never locked, just had a latch on it, all you do is get out and open the latch, drive in. That would, all you're doing is slowing traffic down. We have a lot of traffic come there because it's dead end. They think they're going to Byram, they realize they're not,
Yep.
so they
Oh,
go
I have.
down and they fly
Yep.
back out. So I mean, the same scenario, and I don't think.
I have the same thing on the road I live on.
Right, you're right,
But
same
I
road.
think Jared, we can address that by simply applying
Gotta-
these guidelines to platted subdivisions.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So that's going to eliminate a
Okay.
lot of confusion about gates across roads out in the middle of nowhere. If it's gotta be attenuated to a platted subdivision, that's where we would allow
And I think they've got to be automatic open and close when you pull up.
Isn't that
Mike's
something
got
we,
his hand up over there.
technically, isn't that something we don't take up today because all we do is approving the?
Oh, we're not.
plan?
We just discussing it, you know.
We have
discussion
half a
purposes.
dozen Melamie people sitting in here. It's why we're, and their deal is contingent to them on being able to have something like this. That's why we're talking about it today.
Okay, I got you.
Mike, you
Me
have something?
me and Raymond was just talking, I mean, is there different speeds these gates are open?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, sir,
I
you
know
can
we pull up some of these gates open a little slower and some of them open faster.
Well, I'll speak to that if I can. The slide gate operators by law can only open 1 foot per second. But 99% of the time in gated subdivisions, you don't see slide gates, you see swing gates. And you can set those to open as quick as you want. And even with typically you're gonna see a 16-foot opening double gate. So you got an 8-foot gate leaf, and that gate will be out of the way in 5 seconds.
I think that'd be something, if you was looking at.
Yep.
Me and Raymond was just talking about it on our end.
So are both
Can you
gates
give us some, leave with us what it's gonna look like?
Y'all have gate designs?
The looks of it?
Yeah, like what type gate it's gonna be? I mean,
not-
in my mind, I was thinking just an arm going
It's not
down.
quite
No,
designed. We're trying to get the approval and then go into design and
Yeah.
come back with.
I mean,
Railroad cross.
Striped arm.
Exactly,
No,
I mean,
It'd be a wrought iron, something fancy.
okay, all
Can
right.
can I speak to the policy just a little bit?
Sure.
What we've seen, and this may be, y'all may know all this already, but what other municipalities have done is they have written a policy for a free entry gate system, obviously not applying to a controlled entry gate system. Whereas you gotta go through a architectural review and submit a site plan that shows where the gate's gonna sit. And the policy has so many hoops you have to jump through, one of which being the siren operated sensor, which lets any siren that hears is gonna throw the gate open. A turnaround in front of the gate for anybody that doesn't want to go through the gate.
Right.
Things like that are built into that policy, and given that you jump through those hoops, then you theoretically could get passed to have the gate. So that way it's gonna look how the county wants it to look.
So which municipality has that?
I know Flowood passed it not too long ago. I know we put one in for Bell Mead subdivision.
Ridgeland has it too.
Ridgeland, but Madison's first that started it about
Yeah.
5 years ago. And so it's worked well for them, but they're pretty stringent through the architectural review, so
Yeah.
they're getting what they want before it ever happens.
We just did one in Adams County, Natchez as well. And it was, like he said, it's limited to automatic. I think his point was if it was a latch, it had all kind of turnaround, so if someone pulls up and the gate's shut and they decide they're not backing into traffic or back on the road, it's got to turn around.
Yeah.
But no manual latches, automatic with battery backups. And Natchez did no slide gates, only swing gates for the speed.
Yeah. Well, I was just curious whose, we could borrow,
It sounds like he
Yeah.
can help writing regulations, but.
get us started in the right
Yeah.
direction
I'll be
anyway.
happy.
You've heard municipalities, and so I want to make that point. Not surprisingly, you're going to see municipalities that are addressing this. Probably not very many counties
Well,
are addressing it.
Greg,
So that's-
the difference, in Madison County, they have 100,000 people, we have 150. Most of their 100 is within a 10-mile radius. We're spread out 150,000 from top to bottom.
Over half of
So,
our
I mean, we are
residents
one big municipality.
outside of the municipality. So to that point, we've got to do a lot more. There's a lot more county level regulation like this that we see in our county. So to Jay's point, we're probably not going to get a lot of help out of what other counties are doing to gate subdivisions.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to look at the municipalities, and they're going to have considerations that may not work for counties. That's the point I want to make.
Okay.
All right, so, any more on the discussion side? All right, so again, I guess just for my own clarity, the motion we got right now to approve it, is this approving the gates in it?
No,
or
no.
approve the
Just approving the plat?
Yeah, and I would say they put a plan together and bring it back
Bring it
to us
back
for
with
the
approval of the gate
gates.
at a
And maybe
later
we'll
time.
have time to
Right.
hash through what we,
How long are y'all looking for us to need to make a decision on this? Is this something you want us to do in 2 weeks, a month, 2 months?
the gates.
Within a month, that's possible. We're about to redo that whole new entry.
All right.
at
So
Melody.
you'd have to come back with a site plan on that.
Well, we just need to,
Yeah, if y'all require that on the insurance,
Well, I'm sure we
Yeah.
would. If you're gonna have the gates, we would.
Okay.
By the time we meet again, we'll
Yeah.
be talking about gate guidelines.
yeah,
All right.
all right.
Okay.
All right, Jessica, I think that's the motions for the approval of plat. Who was the second?
Construction plans.
Construction plans?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so discussion's
Got a
closed.
motion second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you guys
Thanks.
very much. Mr. Buster, this is item C, Arbor Landing.
That is correct.
I think it's your favorite development.
I love it to
I
death.
think
Yes.
so.
This morning, I'm recommending approval of the final plat on Phase 2B, and we have a letter of credit in the amount of $42,000.
And a motion by Mr. Morrow, and I'll place a second on that for myself. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the like sign? Motion passes. Item D.
Item D, Coventry Part 2, which is in Mr. Moore's area.
Thank you for sharing that, 'cause I was supposed to ask you, where is Coventry? Sounded familiar.
Back in Greenfield Station in there. And
Greenfield.
I'm recommending approval of those construction plans.
Second.
Got a motion by anyone? Who had the first?
I don't-
First by
all right,
Mr. Moore. I
second.
thought he seconded Mr. Buster's
He
motion.
did second it, but anyway. I'll
It's gonna be a good
second.
one. It's gonna get a little tricky for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah.
Got a motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Morrison. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item E.
All right, thank you. This is discussion of the Oak Grove drainage study, and unfortunately, I'm gonna turn it over to Chris Bass, and y'all can just rip him up, but he's got a little PowerPoint demonstration here. Carry on, Mr. Bass.
Thank you, Mr. Parker.
Hang on, before you get started, I just want to give you a little overview here. You know, we have some parts in there that we could legally do, and that's what we voted to allow them to go and put that camera through there. And this is what we're fixing to see. Not obviously all of it, but just some highlights.
All right, so we started with the two main drainage lines that go through the subdivision that are on right-of-way down Acorn Lane and Oak Grove Drive. So I just want to show y'all a few pictures of what we found. So the first few are all on Acorn. So this is a pipe, a concrete pipe, and you can see how it's separated. One pipe has dropped down several inches. So we're having a lot of infiltration from groundwater, dirt coming into the pipe. It's washing out around the pipe, and that leads to curb and gutter failing, sidewalk failing, things like that. This is a jointed pipe, and this is probably pretty typical on that run. Acorn was definitely the worst of the two, where that's where two pipes are coming together. You can see how it started to crack and break apart, so it's losing all of its structural component. These are lifting eyes where the pipe is made with a hole in the top so they can pick it up, and it's supposed to be patched when they put it in. So there's water running through it. You can see there's roots growing through the hole. So either the patch has failed over time, or it was never patched in the first place. And so you have 8-foot joints of pipe. So each pipe has one of these. So you can imagine every 8 feet you're having an issue with water getting into the pipe. Soil.
They were all that way.
They're all that way.
Or water coming out of the pipe.
Right. Right.
Sounds like they weren't patched, if they're all that way.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we need somebody out there inspecting this.
Well, we had that engineer here and said that he oversaw all that.
This is probably the worst we saw. You can see these are two joints of pipe you're looking down into that they have begun to settle. So this is 24-inch pipe. So you're talking 6 to 8 inches of differential settlement. I think what you're seeing is, I think the county at one time went in and did some foaming to try to correct some of these problems. So the material you're seeing between the two separations, some of it is the tar gasket that was on the pipe, and some of it's the foam that they tried to use. But I don't think the foam was really made to cover up a hole that big. So, this was probably the worst spot on Acorn Lane. The pipe on Acorn is it's in need of just replacement, in our opinion at this time. Oak Grove was a little bit better. We did have some issues. I don't really know where this pipe's coming from. It wasn't on the construction drawings, but what this is somebody, maybe a homeowner, went in and put a French drain coming off their house and then broke into the pipe and is draining into the storm drain. This is pretty typical of what we saw.
They
in
did
Oak
some
Grove.
quality work though,
That
man.
was
I mean, it
pretty
looked good.
creative.
You know?
This is pretty typical of the joints we see. You can see the black that you're seeing inside the joint. That's the filter fabric that's around the pipe.
Right.
So the pipe is separated enough where the filter fabric does appear to be in some places doing its job, keeping the dirt out, but it's not going to last for long. The filter fabric isn't made that clear span a joint of pipe. So this is an inlet on Oak Grove Drive, and this is pretty typical of all the inlets we saw. There's concrete's cracked, and somebody has come in and tried to foam it to keep water from infiltrating into the inlet. So Oak Grove was a little bit better, but the pipe, I think there's a large portion of it we could do a lining in it instead of just replacing the pipe. That way would prevent us from digging the street up, digging the curb and gutter, digging the sidewalk up. We can just go in and put a liner in and repair the inlets, and then that would be it. But the other one, Acorn, I think it's at this point just a dig up and replace job.
What do you, so the one that had the French drain into it, that sounds like that's on private property.
Well, the French drain itself, if that's what it is, I'm not 100%, I think that's what
Just
it is, I'm
assuming
not
that's what
sure.
it is.
It's coming from private property, but they have dug on the public property and attached it to a public pipe.
Wow.
They busted through that concrete.
They busted through the concrete and attached it.
So all these are around the road?
Yes, sir, all these are on public right of way.
Huh. Well, okay. I'm curious to hear how you're gonna handle that one with the French drain stuck in it, sir. We're fixing to block that off.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
That's pretty creative, yeah.
Yeah, looked like they did a good job too.
Yeah, guess so.
But those are just some of the better pictures I wanted to show you.
Do you have the one that showed the length of where all the foam dropping down? You didn't
No,
bring
sir.
that one. Oh, there was a long shot that basically every joint you could see where we had went and foamed every one of them. You know, through the years, I guess our guys got tired of going out there and trying to, patch potholes or sinkholes in everybody's yards. But your recommendation, what are we looking at in terms of what we need to do to try to address some of these?
Well, the
Let's see. Right at the end of here too.
on the
Dave, our people got tired of going out there and patching potholes on county right of way.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I just.
Well, we don't
I
do others.
misunderstood
I
what you
mean,
said.
yeah. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Attorney.
I
I'll
was afraid
clarify
that
the
might have
future.
misunderstood as well.
Right.
Well, the pipe on Acorn, which is predominantly 18 to 36 inch pipe, to replace, and that's going to include, because most of it's under sidewalk, curb and gutter, all that's going to have to be taken up to replace a pipe. I think you're looking at around $580,000 to replace it. The other one on Oak Grove, the pipes on it are much larger. There's up to the 54-inch pipe. So we propose there's some places in it that'll have to be replaced that can't be lined. There are very few of them, but some. But even doing the lining, which would save you on the cost of the sidewalk, cost of the curb and gutter, cost of digging cross streets up, you're looking at around $800,000.
That's on just the Oak Grove.
That's just on the Oak Grove Drive.
1.3
So
million.
85,
1.3 million.
yeah, easy math.
I was thinking the Oak Grove would be a cheaper fix than the other.
Said it wasn't bad.
Well, longer. That's
What
it's-
are these, what are they, what are they creating? Obviously some drainage issues, but what is this problem?
The
What-
biggest
what was
issue,
happening out
well, we
there?
got two things. One, where a couple of intersections are, we're having a lot of road problems out there. Mike's having to go out and actually patch the road itself. But other than that, the majority of the homes down through there have sinkholes in their yards.
Is this causing the sinkhole?
Yeah.
How? I'm just
water
asking.
going down
Water
through
going
there.
through there and sinking ground, giving way.
Wait.
I mean, they
Well,
have a
no,
lot of
no,
other
no,
sinkholes.
No, if it's in your
but-
yard, I'm trying to figure out how what's in the road
Talking about
is
around the-
creating the problem in the
Because
yard.
Around the sidewalk.
the drainage is on the sidewalk.
Okay, you're talking about in their yards. I'm thinking, how do you get up in the yard? It's just.
No, but they got others, you know,
Yeah.
because that whole subdivision
Right.
needs to be
Yeah.
replaced. But these are just the ones that we can actually deal with.
I guess.
And this may not even be possible, but if we went in there and abandoned those and put open ditch like we're requiring in our subdivisions now, would that make it better, cheaper, or not even a possibility?
Well, I don't know, I'd have to run an estimate, but I don't think ultimately it would save you any money. You know, once you get, if you do an open ditch, once you get outside the sidewalk to cut the ditch, you know, you're talking about having to move water lines,
Okay.
phone lines, all those things that are sitting there that have to be
Utilities.
relocated just so you can put the ditch in. And
I
then,
think the densities here probably would prohibit us from being able to go that route.
right.
Okay.
You have to eliminate the sidewalks.
Yeah.
If you were going to go there.
That ain't a bad idea.
That was about it at all.
You got that right.
Well, just eliminate them anyway, regardless.
I know it's a big
Well, that's
number.
true.
you know.
Well, that is a good point. If you're gonna have to do it, why would we have to put the sidewalks back?
Every time we trade off with the homeowner association group out there, we'll spend this, whatever it's gonna take, but we're not gonna put sidewalks back.
The sidewalks are in our right of way. Let's keep that in mind.
So we wouldn't have to put them back.
That's our sidewalks.
That would be a cost saving.
That'd be a huge cost saving, I would think. Not huge, but it'd be significant.
So
Would
if I
that
could
be-
get them to go along with that, y'all
Would that-
be okay with doing it?
No, we're still talking.
Well, why are y'all throwing it out there then?
I think at some point, we're gonna have to do something. I mean, it's not,
Yeah,
it's
we don't
not.
have to, but I think it's a good point to see about,
Yeah.
if you save the sidewalk, take that out, what's that gonna do to the equation?
Well, you're looking about $31,000 on sidewalks on Acorn and 55 on.
No, about, well, it's still 80.
Well, it'd end up being, it would end up being 100,000.
Website, yeah. that's-
100,000.
It would end up being
Basically
100,000, yeah.
Well,
Do
but look
one-
at it,
one-
we'll look at down the road though.
Yeah.
You eliminated that maintenance,
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
long term.
You could maybe look at one in one budget year, one in the next budget year.
Yeah.
Well, how could we do that? Is that something that's feasible? If we just did one project this year, one next year?
Absolutely. I would think the one on Acorn is the one that needs to be addressed first. It's the one that's in more of a dire need.
Yeah.
Actually, you're saying one next year and the one year after.
And then
Budget
all-
years.
I was
All
saying
this
this
piping
year.
ties into some bridge downstream, right, Ms. Oster?
What?
You know, whenever I come in here, I have something that costs 25,000, 30. You come in here with something that's $1,300,000.
You come out of the bridge fund.
Man, this has not been just all of a sudden. This has been coming on for several years.
Yeah, I'm trying to get striping and you're trying.
Oh, get out of here, man.
Oh, it's just $1,300,000.
All right, any further discussion on Oak Grove?
Wait a minute. When can we take this
I'll
up
wait to see
for?
if you're gonna make a motion.
I mean, if y'all are serious about taking out the sidewalks, that's something I would need to discuss with the homeowner association. You know, and see if that's something that.
Well, the sidewalks gotta be
Sidewalk in
taken
our
out.
right away anyway.
What if
They've
we
gotta be-
replace them?
They've got to be taken out. It's just whether you're going to put them back or not.
Yeah.
So,
You wanna just table it to the next meeting, let you talk to them? and
Yeah.
come back?
It's just a discussion.
yeah, well, there's no
Yeah,
action
we're just
there.
discussing.
mean,
I just
bring
didn't
up-
want us to just breeze over this and not bring it back up.
I
You
was
know?
just
Yeah.
gonna give you the chance to make a motion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but it's
Well, you can wait.
discussion.
I just, you know.
It didn't say anything about possible action.
All right,
Why don't we?
yeah, we'll put it
Check
on
on
next
the other
meeting.
part, yeah.
Yeah, all right, we'll
Check
put it for a
on it.
vote on our next meeting.
Check on that.
Some action in there.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
So I was just gonna come back to you on this additional business.
I appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Slay, moving along. Public hearings.
Gentlemen, under my section, items A through E are all to set hearings on the same day, August 3 at 9 a.m. If I could get one motion for all of those public hearings, I think that'll be good.
I'll make a motion.
We entertain a motion, Mr. Gaines,
Second.
second by Mr. Morrow. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed with a like sign. Motion passes. Public hearing is set. Item F.
Item F is a public hearing on the J. Anthony Cale rezoning request, North Church Street in District 1. We'll open that public hearing. Mr. Cale is seeking to rezone 97.4 acres that is located on North Church Street from RE1A to RE1 for future development of the property. Development of subdivisions is not allowed in the RE1A zone. Our RE1A districts may be considered a transitional area and may be considered for rezoning. This property is in close proximity to the city limits of Florence. The property was posted and notice of a public hearing has been published in the paper. One call was received and was not opposed to the rezoning. At this time, that public hearing is open. I'll ask, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the J. Anthony Cale rezoning matter? Please come forward and state your name and address.
Good morning.
Morning, how you doing?
Hey, Vic.
My name is Vic Boggs, and Pat Jeffcoats here. I have the property on 583 North Church Street, which is immediately south of this property here. We co-own the property together. Of course, our first concern is what exactly is RE1? What kind of subdivision is that going to be? Is it low-income housing? Is it other parks? Is it, I mean...
Go ahead.
I'd just like a little more information about what that is.
Yeah.
Large lot is an acre.
Okay.
Lot size is an acre.
Okay.
I believe you can exceed that.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm not necessarily...
We've not had a plat on it, but
right.
what I understand, Vic, is it's going to be 3 acre
okay.
lots
okay.
with larger homes. That's something that the plat would have to be approved.
Okay.
Even yet before.
Well,
right now, we're just doing the zoning.
I see.
So,
well, right. I mean, we're not necessarily opposed to it. It
right.
sounds like something like that might even improve my property values. But
the way I have it pictured, just to give you kind of, is more of like a ironwood.
Okay.
Something similar
okay.
to that. Now, that's kind of the way it's been described to me. But there again, the plat's not come before us, and that has to be approved itself. So there again, there's an opportunity.
Okay.
To, I guess.
Jared has a lot of input into what goes there.
Okay.
That.
Well, like I say, we're not opposed to that. If it's going to be something, we just don't want
right.
what's happening on down the road there. But and my next question is concerning the Gunner Road extension. I know that's kind of dormant right now, but if it eventually does come through, does that eliminate that property from being considered for the Gunner Road extension?
No.
And does it throw it back on my property?
Well, there's been no design, so there never was really
okay, so it's not a viable
design.
project.
There's been no design on it, so don't really don't know where exactly it would go through anyway.
Okay, but what I'm asking is, does that eliminate that property as a possibility if there's?
It would if it's got houses built on it.
Right.
You know, multiple like that. Yeah.
So what about the houses built on my property?
I don't think we're going into that domain.
We're not even. I don't mean we're not anywhere there. I'm
okay.
just. It's just been a discussion of a need.
Okay. Well, like I said, I knew it was had been discussed, but
right.
It was kind of dormant. But I just.
Mr. Bishop is why it's dormant.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Me by myself. That's it. Yeah.
That was it.
Yep. Go ahead.
I also got a question as far as if they put that subdivision in, and then, I know very little about it, but know enough about that. It's as far as the drainage and the flooding issue. Our property will be in between the new property be over here. Our property will be here, and then it's been extensive work done on the drainage issue to the left side of North Church Street.
Right.
So.
Okay.
That will be an issue as far as our property will, it'll be in the middle, so.
Well, engineer can answer to this, but there again, it's part of the plat. In order to all that, when he does come in with a plat of what he's wanting to do, the drainage and everything has to be considered and has to be approved. And he approves all the drainage and takes into consideration all the things basically you're saying to
right. All
so
that will,
he can answer
will
that.
be addressed.
Part of the plat.
We need moves on to the next phase.
It can't be approved until all of that has been okayed.
All right.
It's not just go in and cut a road and start putting some houses. It has to be. Actually, I'm glad to let you, I mean, you can see the plat as far as that goes.
Okay.
I forgot what the design's gonna be. But my understanding from what I've just heard, word of mouth, is it's, and I think at the meeting, it was more like a 3-acre lots.
Okay.
Correct.
And, I think maybe even some 5-acre.
Okay.
But it was,
don't
and
think we
the
would
best way it was described to me, something similar to Ironwood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe we would have opposition to that.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's gonna certainly enhance the area.
Yeah,
if-
yeah.
But that's again, part of what I wanna see, and we'll be involved in
Okay, great.
what is gonna go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank y'all.
Anyone else to speak on that matter?
Gentlemen, I don't see anyone else to speak on that matter. We'll close that public hearing. It'd be appropriate to take action.
All right, entertain a motion from the board.
I make a motion to
Second.
approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Gentlemen, the next item is exceedingly long, typical of the lawyer to put all this stuff in here. It has to do with a way for the county to deal with nuisance property situations where the owner or the suspected owner of the property lives outside the county. It's a way for us to get them served with process in the nuisance actions. That's what that is.
Great. The board would wish to entertain a motion to adopt
I
the procedure.
make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion to approve by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Bishop. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign.
And we can start now.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Item H.
Renee?
Yeah, now, just so the board understands that the proposal from the Justice Court judges was that there would be some way to sort of monitor which ones they're going to do that in, because this is a new day for us, and there needs to be good coordination. I'm confident that Renee and John will be able to do whatever we need to do to satisfy the Justice Court judges so that they understand what we're trying to do here. So we're going to try to be smart about that. So
Well,
I'll work with Renee.
I wish you would keep me kind of updated. I'm having phone calls of the same obvious ones that we're talking about, and I've put them off, explain the situation, so I know, and they're expecting this, so they want to know what's going to happen pretty quick.
Are the majority South Pearson?
Huh?
Are the majority South Pearson?
No.
Or you got some others?
No, I got 2 more. No, South Pearson, that's a whole different bird.
Oh, I thought,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll stay on top of that one, Jared. I know exactly which one you're talking about, so we'll try to jump on that one first. And that's going to be a Hines County situation, so I feel like that was a
You
good
got a
one.
Hines,
It's
and
not
you
too
got
far
one, I
away.
believe, down toward Prentice. Is that right? Yeah, that was a hot one. In fact, I go see those people ASAP.
Next item is a discussion of the RFP for our concession vendor at the multipurpose pavilion and potential action to authorize the completion of that RFP and then approval of the RFP. I have got about 90% of that done, but I need your help on addressing a couple of considerations within the RFP to know on the front end how we want to structure it or not. Okay, so one thing that's come up in looking at other RFP and concession vendors, and this all arises from the situation where we want to try to have as good of a situation both for the county and for the constituency that's using the pavilion to have access to vending services. Okay, and we've had a couple of folks that have showed up to give some indication as to what they can offer. And so the consideration that is before you today that I need some help on is, on the front end, do we want to telegraph that we are expecting for there to be some sort of percentage of the food service coming back to the county or not?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't
With
want
the
to.
cash register type.
All right. And we can structure the RFP so that it says that. What I was wanting to try to avoid was a situation where we put it out there that way, and that knocks us out of an open process for folks to bid on it, because there probably are some who would not be willing to come if you tell them on the front end that we are setting a percentage return to the county. So I need some help. I've seen it runs the gamut out there as far as RFPs are concerned. You'll see anything from 2% all the way up to 10% of gross
I like
receipts.
10. I like 10.
What was the one that came in here? Well,
Gross
I'll ask
sales?
that.
Backyard burger.
Yeah.
No,
So-
I'm just saying, maybe I remember, I get it.
So there's different ways to look at this. If we tell them on the front end that we're expecting a given percentage of gross, there may be some pushback
Yeah, right.
that we're trying to write people out.
How does Brandon currently do theirs? Do you know?
I don't know.
I mean, they're doing this through the other municipalities. I'm curious what percentage how
Who?
they got their structured. Flowwood and Brandon. They're,
Richmond too, doesn't.
Their part.
I would tell you that most of the
They're,
pending contracts that I see from across the country have some form of remuneration to the county or to the municipality, whichever one it
We
is.
also talked about flat fee too, didn't we? That we just say, you pay us $1,000 a month.
Yes, sir.
You make whatever you want.
Yeah, you can actually structure it however you want to structure it. Where y'all are helping me is to know on the front end how we want to sort of position the vendors. Do we want to tell them on the front end that we're expecting you to bring us proposals that have a gross receipts remuneration to the county and a flat fee? Do we tell them that on the front end, or do we leave it completely open-ended? You tell us what you want to do. There's different ways that we can do this.
Looks like we need to tell them that up front, otherwise you've got.
That's why I'm here.
I think you
Can't
need-
they put in their bid
Yeah.
what their percentage would be, and that would be
Yes, sir.
something we'd consider?
Right. But understand, if we don't tell them on the front end, don't expect them to offer something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, Mike and Brian, from what discussions we've had, a percentage is, I think that we have some shows that are huge, and if we just give them a flat rate of $100 a day or $500 a day, we're kind of slashing our throat, because we've got big shows now.
I
think
definitely
you
like
like to do it on a
percentage.
base percentage deal.
And
Yeah. Here's
Because that way it works
where we
out
need
for
to
them
be.
on the small shows as well as
Yeah.
it does the big shows.
And I think that we should put in there that I want them here every time there's an event going on,
Yes,
whether
sir.
it's, I don't want them cherry picking our big ones.
And that's one thing I did, has been brought to, I guess, proposed to us by one other
That's the second part of my
event.
Q&A with you today. The reason that I'm not prepared to come forward with a document today is twofold. I wasn't clear in my own mind about how we wanted to telegraph this percentage, gross receipts percentage. That was number one. Number two was, I don't have a schedule of events in my possession, and I need to get with Trish or the sheriff to get a good, solid, something calendar-wise, and I'd like to have even into next year to put in front of these
So they
potential
can
vendors.
see what
This
kind of.
is,
they see.
this is gonna be a go-by, because we have people booking all the time, and I expect them not just to be there on this list that we
Correct.
give them.
That's correct.
Right, I think he's trying to give them
Just kinda give them an
an
idea.
of what kind of business they would have.
Okay.
They need some information, otherwise they're completely flying blind. I don't know if we get the best proposal
They don't know
if they don't know what they're dealing with.
Once
So
a
there's
month
that.
I think the ones that are serious about bidding are gonna know what they're bidding on. They're gonna do their homework.
Are we going to require the vendors to provide everything? All the cooking equipment?
Everything. Everything other than what we have in there is running water, sink,
You're talking
and
about turnkey operation.
So they're going to have to.
turnkey
They're
operation.
going to have to put in a fire suppression system, vent hoods.
They may have
Grease
to put
traps.
I don't know if we've got grease traps and things, and we may even have adequate vent hoods, but I think that they need to come look at it, and whatever it
If
takes.
they're interested, they'll come down and look at it, but they need
Whatever
to.
it takes to
Can
make
we
it work.
have them also be responsible for keeping the drainage open? So if it clogs up, it's on them, since they're the only ones going to be using it?
That's a good point. You dump a bunch of grease in there and it plugs up.
Right. I don't think they need to turn to us and
If
say.
you're talking about that,
"We need to clean it
depends
out."
on where the drain, you're talking about
Well,
where that drainage is.
Yeah.
I think it
That-
just could put in there the maintenance of the operation.
Okay.
Of their operation, because
Yeah.
if some kid sticks a roll of toilet paper in the commode and stops it up down the line,
No, I mean
we're not
just
gonna
the
make
kitchen.
them.
What
Yeah, but
goes
it's
to the
all in the
kitchen.
same drain. I mean, it's one trunk. that
So
goes
so
through
one
there.
way we hope
Okay.
to sort of control that reality, Jay, that there may be some things that we don't think about on the front end that happen to us, is that we're going to shorten down the term, or I'm going to suggest that we keep the term short, so we have a period of, let's see how this works. Let's see if
Well,
this
but
is
once
working
they
to our
invest that
satisfaction.
kind of, equipment in there, they're gonna have to have a long term.
I think you need to give them enough time to recoup some of the investment, but
The reality is that what we're beginning to propose or to suggest is that the upfront fixed cost for them is not going to be terribly significant, and that we're sort of betting on the come. We're going to get a greater percentage of gross receipts for the county, so that's going to be our revenue stream. Their fixed costs are going to be lower, so it'll be whatever they bring to get for the startup costs and some limited monthly obligations, almost in the nature of rent, right, for the facility, for the location itself. And then what we're betting on is those gross receipts. They're going to do a good job. They're going to sell some food, and it's going to show up to us on that side.
How do
You see?
How are you going to, I mean, you have one or two vendors say, okay, I give you 10% of these, but didn't really identify the potential gross sales, and you go with that person, but they may not put a menu out there that's going to generate a whole bunch of gross. You see what I'm saying? So that gives me some.
The RFP itself will say, we need to see your menu, and we need to see your references, and we need to see how you've done this in other locations.
I think when
Somebody
we get down to
legit probably
picking
does
the
this.
one we want, it's not gonna be, just a pie in the sky. We're gonna know who they are and what business they've taken care of in the county and around this area. I don't think it's gonna be blindfolded.
I don't either.
And it's a service.
I don't think
And
you'll
so
have that
there's a good
coming
bit
out
of
that's gonna be able
flexibility
to
for
do
you
it.
guys.
Foot the bill.
Craig, you figuring this at 15%, aren't you?
What I see across the country is anywhere between 5 and 10%.
Okay, most of these renters are getting about 15%. I know that's what Meridian's getting.
Yep.
You know, if we're trying to keep apples to apples.
Well, I think we really need to see what they're getting in Rankin County, not Meridian,
Yeah.
you know, because there's a big difference between us and Meridian.
We're all on U.S. currency now.
What do you mean, big difference?
We've gone away from the Confederate dollar.
Well, I mean, there's a lot more people in Rankin County than there are in Meridian,
Well,
I would
I
think.
know, but I'm saying, if they're getting 15, we ought to be,
I mean, we're
Well, I
basically,
think-
we're basically running about the same.
That's not
Our
much
show,
different.
our show list and Meridian's is
Not
about
that
the
big.
same.
We just,
I mean, we have
it'd be a good idea.
our big shows, we share it with Meridian. So I'm just throwing that out there as what they get for there.
Right.
Not trying to beat nobody up on it, but that's,
Well, we don't want to leave any money on the table, so
No.
that's good information to know. But mostly what I see is in the 5 to 10% range. That's what I see mostly. So,
it's gotta be pretty detailed, whatever you draw up, or, I mean, and I can see where there's so many variables in there.
Well, if it's gross sales, that's pretty easy.
No, I don't mean that, I'm talking about, what he's drawing up, I'm talking about menu and equipment, and we're gonna need to know what kind of equipment, I mean, it's not just a deep fryer over here.
Well, I think no matter what, as long as we just say they're responsible for all the equipment, and they know if they're in a restaurant business that they gotta put in that, you know, the fire suppression system in order to be able to open. So,
Well, could it also, I mean, in some consideration, in fact, somebody's gonna have to invest a good bit. It's kinda like we've done some things in the past, I think like, maybe some of the, mowing or lawn service, you know, because of the investment, we have the option to just, instead of bidding it after, say, 2 years, if he's done good, it just roll over and let him keep doing it. Is that something we could look at possibly that if
Yes,
they're
sir.
doing
That's going to
a
be
good
the
job?
contract itself. That's after you have made your
Okay.
selection. In the contract itself, you set the length of the term.
You
And we
have any
can
idea
build
how
it.
long a contract we're gonna be given?
Mostly what I see is fairly long, what I would call fairly long-term, 3-year deals
Yeah.
and beyond, and it recognizes the investment that's going to be required.
and
on the
there's
front end.
still gonna be an out on both sides, right?
That's
Right.
what I would propose,
Right.
Jay. They're going to have to put some skin in the game, knowing that there's a fairly short leash, that if we're not happy, then after 90 days, out.
And the truth is, if they're in the restaurant business,
Yeah.
even if this doesn't go well for them, they'll be able to take that equipment and put it in somewhere
That's
else
right.
and use it. Yeah.
So y'all are,
You have everything you need.
I think so. The feedback I'm hearing is we do want to go with a gross percentage. We want to telegraph that.
I wouldn't telegraph 5 to 10% though. Let's let them tell us what they'll pay us.
Yeah.
We get somebody in here at 14, 15, that's better.
I think that's kind of a moot point now, but that's okay.
Yeah, I guess.
I really got the impression that y'all weren't happy with 5 to 10%, Bob. It sounded to me like they better come stronger than that.
Yes.
That's what I heard.
You just fractured that thing for us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Craig, you need any kind of action? Or
No,
you got what you want?
no, sir. I think I've got what I want. But what I would propose that we do is that you authorize the publication of this RFP once I am satisfied and you are satisfied with the language that is contained in it, and I don't have it to put in front of you right now. All right? So I'm going to need, and I'm telling you guys, I'm going to need really good information about the booked shows out into as far into the future as we know them. So, help. I got to have that information. All right? Very good.
Yeah, whatever.
So give me a motion on that, Daniel, that y'all are authorizing the publication of the RFP and the distribution of the RFP contingent upon everybody being satisfied with the language that I will present to you guys.
Make that motion.
Entertain a motion for that, Mr. Morrison. Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
We
passes.
need a motion to put it on the agenda, or is it already on
Well,
there?
it
No,
says
it's on here, potential action to authorize, it's already on
That's
here.
what that did. Craig needed, so. All right, item I.
Yes, sir. This discussion and review of our Rankin County Development Ordinance has been long in the development for a long time, no pun intended. And Brother Alan Scott's going to walk us through where we are today.
Mr. Scott?
Thank you, Craig. What we've got here is, again, just a presentation of the major changes. So it's certainly not it's not the whole development ordinance, the proposed ordinance. It's just going to walk you through what the major proposed changes are. Of course, with Chris's thing and the pipes we saw in Oak Grove, was what birthed this whole process. Some of the problems that we were starting to see in the county from the way things were being done currently. And so that's what started the whole process several years ago. One of the things on the proposed, we're calling this a development ordinance versus a regulation. So we'll let Craig tell you the legal difference there.
Quickly, probably the best analogy that I can give you is what Congress does. They will pass a law, and it's called an enabling statute. It says, here's the law. The law is that you have to do thus and so, thus and so, thus and so. And then they flip it down to a regulatory body to fill in the details of what the regulations are. The difference is when it's the force of a law, which is what a local ordinance is, there's more teeth in it, and a much better opportunity for us to enforce it because we're using the police powers to do it. So you're not pushing it down to Renee's office or to Mr. Buster. You are saying at your level, this is how we will do development in Rankin County. It's a much better position for us to be in.
Thank you. Of course, the first difference is that the proposed revision establishes a procedure for governing review of residential, commercial, and industrial development on both subdivided and non-subdivided property. We all, me included, we talk about this as a subdivision reg because that's primarily where it's used. But under this ordinance, we could really use this for any of residential, commercial, industrial, subdivided, or non-subdivided property.
Why wouldn't you just say all property in Rankin County?
Well, if it's within, of course, if it's within a municipality, it would not fall. You could say all. You could say that. I guess. I mean, that's written like an attorney instead of an engineer, isn't it?
Okay.
No, that's. We took that wording from, I guess, the existing regulation and just extrapolated it out. Yeah. Just the procedure itself gets a little more formal in that we'll have a record of a pre-application conference, an application fee. Similar to what you're doing now, it's just it has forms that go along with it, a little more documented, a little more paperwork that goes along. But basically what you're doing now is just with some forms and some paperwork. All proposed easements and right-of-way labeled in purpose of the intent of the and dimensioning include any protected green spaces. That's in there now. The red says the name of the proposed easement holder shall be labeled by specific name if known, or by general type entity, for example, subdivision X, homeowner association. So it's just a developer telling you on the front end who he intends to be in, that's going to maintain these green spaces, maintain detention basins and things like that. If he knows on the front end, he has to tell you under this.
I thought that we discussed that there must be a homeowner association.
Or a property management group in a commercial development, not a yeah. So it would be, you might not have a homeowners association.
Okay.
This is a little change in that the proposed revision that average daily traffic for the public street that the development is tying to, most of Rankin County is readily available now, either through MDOT or Central Mississippi Planning and Development District. And so that's fairly readily available information now. It's not hard for them to attain. They don't have to go out and do their own studies. For those places in the county where it's not, then the county engineer would have the authority to require them to go do their own, on a case-by-case basis, to do their own traffic study if he deemed it necessary. Final plat submittal package, a retention basin maintenance security is required under the new ordinance, the proposed ordinance, and all warranties go from 1 year to a minimum of 2 years.
We got a pushback on that, didn't we, from the developers? And what was the comment he said?
I think we had it more than 2, and we cut it down to 2.
They
still like the 2, but I think we started higher than that, I thought.
Well, it was 5, and
cut it to 2.
The 5 is still on the retention. Here in a minute, you'll see there's another slide. The detention basin is still at 5.
We've never had a road at 5
So the
years. I know
retention-
that.
No, the road went from 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The detention
Well, I
basin
thought
went
2
from
years. I think
to
we had
5 years.
pushback on the 2 years
Back
on the
down to
road.
1?
Because of, once it gets completed, and I don't know, I just can't remember, because then the other utility companies get out there and screw it up, and it's on them for, because the other folks screwed it up.
I think the point that was made by the developer that objected, and I think it was Tim Weaver, said that once you get past about a year, it's really out of the hands of the developer at that point. He can't really control access at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was suggesting that 2 years may be aggressive
For him, for them.
for them.
Do we have a situation where we've had that, where that was a problem, that we had 1 year and the road completely failed, to the extent that, that where it wasn't obvious some
No, sir.
gravel truck or something?
I don't recall one like that.
I know Weaver, he's putting 2 years up anyway right now because he's reusing the road back for his construction.
Do what now?
As a condition, we've got Weaver doing 2 years on certain roads because his development is not accessible other than where he's put service.
Well,
He agreed to it.
wouldn't that be a case-by-case type deal then? We couldn't just, should we require 2 years for everything? Why would we really want to do that? Obviously, in that situation.
That was his point. The pushback is, he said he really can't control it after the first year.
Right.
So you put it out there the second year, the AT&T does, or Comcast goes out there and tears up the road, and we're gonna make the responsibility of the developer. Well, the developer's gonna be in here chewing on us because they didn't do it.
Well, no, but what I'm saying, case by case,
Yeah.
now, he obviously has to have.
But we need to go back to 1 year here then?
I'm kind of thinking maybe 1 year. Do y'all really see the need for 2?
Wait a minute, man. You're saying that he don't have control. He doesn't have control anyway. Even that first year, there's no difference than 1 and 2, so he's got more liability.
He's got more liability.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was part of the discussion that Mr. Weaver was talking about. But he certainly has more control than you would have, and so if AT&T or whoever, water company, whoever, that he would certainly have more control over them year 1, year 2, year 3 until is finally accepted, he would have more control than any other one entity, the
I
developer.
don't have a huge issue, but just be prepared when we get ready to do this. This is going to be a hot topic. I can see it coming, but, I don't have problems. Try it 2 years, see what happens.
Well, I mean, in a situation, we look at it and we recognize the fact that it wasn't the developer's fault. I think it'd still be a case by case. I mean, obviously, it's not his fault if they don't get a permit and they cut the road open.
Let me suggest to you what's really driving this is the question, and it may not be answerable, but the question that was raised before we went from 1 to 2 was, are we likely to see problems with the road show up within that 1 year time frame, or do we need 2 in order to see whether the issues are going to show up? So it was simply a conversation that we had, me and the engineers. Are we better off giving us a little more time to see if underlying problems are going to show up?
That's true.
That way we still can look at it and evaluate it. Was it a failure of the road, and why was the failure there?
If you don't have the 2 years, then that failure is going to be subject to the developer. That wasn't my fault.
I don't think that last part of that paragraph fits our discussion, because they may not even be finished building out the subdivision. I mean, that's the final plat.
No, this is 2 year after, afterwards.
After the final plat. They may still be in there developing 2 years. I mean, a lot of times they're in there for more than 2 years.
No, I'm saying it'd be after that final is built out.
That says
Why
final
does it have
plat
final plat on there?
instead of the final last house built.
I think our whole intent was once
they're still building
once it becomes a county road.
Right.
Once the road's
Final acceptance.
Yeah, that should be after the
of
final
the roads,
acceptance.
which means there still won't be any houses in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be 80% built out for we'll accept it.
Well, what happens, and we run it through here all the time, when they get to a point, they put up a letter of credit. There was one this morning to complete the road and so forth. But when they come to the final plat stage, which is going to release them to start selling lots, that's what it amounts to.
That segment, it's for that.
Well,
at the point of final plat, is the road finished, complete with what lots they're going to sell?
The final plat?
Yes, sir.
No, sir. They generally don't have that final surface on.
Well, I think it ought to be after we take it over.
And that would be even longer.
That's what we need
Yes.
to say.
But
Well, you just say 2 years after we accept the road, after we accept it.
We are accepting the road of the final plat.
No, we're not.
You would have the base course down.
Yes.
At final plat, you would have base, just no surface. So if we put from the date that the county accepts the road, he's warranted actually for more than 2 years, which would be fine. I mean, he could be, depending on how long it takes him to get it all done.
Well, that's kind of Steve's point. They're still building in there.
That's when they're going to tear the road up.
Yeah.
What I've been doing is when they get to a point and they're ready to put the final surface down. Okay, we make our inspection and they do the repairs and so forth. Then what I ask for is that right now that 1 year warranty on the roadway after the final surface has gone down.
And we're just simply saying we want a 2 year period after the final surface is put down.
That's correct.
So we're going to change.
So the question really for you guys becomes, do you want to have a 2 year window to see if underlying problems are going to show up or not?
Yeah.
Or are you satisfied with a 1 year window?
Well, I understand what you're saying. If you don't have the two, some things just won't show up till afterwards. It takes a period to tell where that soft spot is.
That's it.
And that constant garbage truck ran through
That's
there.
true. But a lot of those problems show up before the final surface ever goes down. When we got that letter of credit, or whatever the case may be.
Well,
when
which
they're
one do you
building,
think it ought to be?
Sir?
Which one do you think it ought
Well,
to be?
I like 2 years because if a fellow's or a developer's going to build a road to county standards to be used from now on in the county, They shouldn't be afraid of 2 years.
Well, and there again, it's case by case. If it's a failure and we find out, somebody loaded a bulldozer out there, that's not his fault.
That's true.
I mean, I'm just saying, I think we look at the situation and we can tell, and you can tell what
Sure,
caused the road.
and we
to
can
fail.
always, during the course of whatever's going on out there, we can always come to the board and say, hey, this is not this guy's fault.
Right.
And the board can take action on that.
But does this language match up with what our current policy is for 1 year? Because you keep saying that once you accept the final plat and the road has not done the overlay, then we're letting the clock launch then?
No, sir. I asked for the 1 year warranty once that final surface has gone down.
Well, then, should we
So
have?
this would change, based on what y'all are saying, this should change to 2 years from the date of acceptance of the surface asphalt security.
Yeah.
Yes.
Surface asphalt is down, so we would change that.
If that's what, be apples to apples, whether or not we want to go 2 years, that's still
Right. But either way, it needs to say that.
Yeah, it needs to say that.
So from acceptance, approval or acceptance of the surface asphalt security.
Yeah, and then we can decide, I mean, if we want to, like I said, if you can do 1 year or 2 years, either way, I think it needs to be after the final surface.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Not from the acceptance of the security, because then they're going to attenuate that to the date of the letter of credit. 2 years from the date that the surface asphalt course is accepted by the county.
Yeah, because they do the letter of credit, they think they're through.
Goes to say the letter of credit.
Right, no, right. So you don't,
4 years.
right, because of the building,
Okay.
yeah.
So
And normally, we don't even consider them putting it down to what, 80% built out?
We
Correct.
have flexibility.
But we want to see 80 plus, right, which only makes sense for them,
He's not.
because it's going to tear it up. Concrete trucks, construction, yeah.
Okay. So acceptance of the final asphalt by the county. 2 years from that day. Okay.
I know one subdivision that it would have paid for, that we had to do some work on.
When the plat filed, it was on the public street.
This is the warranty on the retention basins, 5 years, and the addition there of a clause evidence of establishment of or contractual agreement with a maintenance management authority, such as a homeowner association or property management group. So they just have to show you who's going to be responsible for taking care of that detention basin.
They're gonna warranty it for 5 years.
And there's going to be a warranty security on like there is on the surface asphalt. Here in a minute, there's going to be an amount of money that they put up to warranty that.
And I don't wanna do that.
Another one of the major changes was rough grading. Remember, the developer shall provide a master drainage plan for the entire development. So if you remember, we went through that so that we can see the drainage. The county engineer can look at the drainage throughout the whole proposed development, not just that portion of that phase it's being.
All right, we had some little pushback on that, and I kind of see their point. If it was 50-acre development, it'd be one thing, but if it's 200, they're talking about, we're gonna make them clear the whole 200 and see the drainage on it, because it's hard to tell it if it's not been cleared.
No, sir, you wouldn't make them clear the whole 200. If they had a 200-acre development and they were doing 50 acres in phase one, they can still look at the major drainage basins just by using a quad map or aerial photography. So this would just be a plan that's showing you that the design engineer, the developer's engineer, is looking at the bigger picture and not just looking at 50 acres. He's looking at the entire 200 acres. He wouldn't actually have to do any improvements except on that phase one, the first 50 acres. But he would already know where his drainage is going to go, how he's planning on taking his water through all 4 or 5 phases, ever how many phases he's going to have.
And I guess the other thing I think somebody brought up then or came up during this time, you got some land over here that's just land. And you got this drainage here, and all of a sudden this guy over here, these people over here buy this, and they're gonna build a home here, which was nothing there, but you've already designed your drainage to take care of this subdivision, and all of a sudden now you're impeding on them, because this was just bare, open, just some wooded land over here to the north of them.
Well, we still require them to not allow any more water leave the property than it was prior to.
Yeah.
Well,
You got all the trees up there.
Right.
Yeah.
In theory, we
Yeah.
make it.
So I'm just,
Well, until we have a countywide water study that detail, I mean, like these men that were in here this morning, and they have a legitimate deal, is their land sits between the development and the creek, and how's the water gonna drain around them, or is it gonna go through, I mean, I think that's wherever you're at in the county, and until we have something that our engineers can look at and see, this is the best we can do. I mean, and I think it's
And this
necessary.
would require the developer's engineer to take a look at the bigger area around, maybe for regional
that's fine.
detention or
I just remember
something.
someone had some comments about that, and I was just gonna make sure that was
Yes.
still
It,
good.
it does penalize the bigger guy because he's having to show watershed for land that he may not develop for 10, 15 years,
Right.
where somebody, and they do it, I know, they bring us something here and they're gonna show 20 or 30 acres and they already have an option on the next 20 or 30 or 40, and we're only seeing one window at a time.
Right.
And where somebody honest shows us the whole picture.
Well, it also forced them to look at that adjacent property that they may not have an option on. How is their development going to affect the drainage on the adjacent property owner?
Well, I thought if we, and this is why I want to go over this, are we going to address allowing developers come in and redirect water drainage from where it currently is now?
It's in here. I've got a
Okay.
slide on that,
All
Jay.
right, okay.
And
Just
Mr.
hold up,
Gaines,
just hold up.
what you mentioned, Mr. Gaines, as far as a countywide drainage study, we're of the opinion that needs to be done. We'd love to do one for you. All we need is authorization.
Yes, sir.
I think it's something we need to go on starting.
It's not cheap.
No, sir, it's not cheap when you get into a study like that, but we would
I
love
think we ought
to
to take
do
it
it
out
for
of
you.
Jay's budget.
To back up on,
Single-digit work order.
that takes care of laying out the subdivision,
I get
also
a
the
kick
house,
out of that every time.
so we don't have a house.
4,
lower
6.
than
Well,
the house.
34.
I'm gonna get
Four.
back.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this has got several slides on this rough grading. This is what you're talking about here, Mike. In
That's something big.
the master drainage plan, shall include existing contours, existing and proposed contours on 1 foot intervals. That sounds pretty, you don't have to send a survey crew out there to do that. We got LiDAR information for the county. You can pull that down. So they can do this without having to send a survey crew out there and survey 200 acres, and he's only fixing to develop 50 acres. Of course, the grading plan must be sealed by a registered professional engineer. This is what Mike was talking about. In development, it's defined as medium density. The entire lot must be graded to an elevation within 1 foot of the elevation of the back of curb or edge of asphalt in ditched
great.
streets.
Great.
And that's
One way or the
just to
other.
prevent this and this.
And we-
I think
we
they're
run
gonna,
into-
they're not gonna like that,
situation.
but the landowner is being homeowner is being very well protected with that.
Well, we went and looked at one last week, Jared. Guy, first one to build in the subdivision, he built his house like he wanted. Now everybody else is having to build up around him. Now he's complaining because he's getting the water, but he built below. Now everybody else is building up, so it's catch-22.
Yeah, that's very important, very important.
Yeah, but
Don't you wanna go back to this?
On that one, I mean, if you're in a large, that's a medium density, so explain to me medium density,
Those are smaller lot sizes,
like,
8,500 square foot. John's saying Hidden Hills is an example of that, where you have some high lots.
8,500
You're
would
like,
be about a
you know,
quarter,
like
quarter acre.
Stonebrook, Cedar,
4 houses per acre.
80 by 100.
I got you.
not 4 acre, not 4 acre lots.
Okay, I'm good. I was thinking a little larger, 3 acres, and then somebody's
no.
house can't be more than a foot above the road.
That'd be a lot of dirt, wouldn't it?
Oh, well, I mean, or either you gotta take a lot down.
Yeah.
If you're
I
gonna
mean,
have
the
everything.
one thing is you want them to build it
Okay.
up and not build them down those holes.
Yeah, I understand.
Like,
I'm good.
well,
I'm
all the
good on this.
neighborhoods.
Yeah, on 4 houses to the acre, they should be
Yeah. Okay, of course, hall bond is something new. The developer should outline the proposed hall bond routes for development on the county map. The necessity for a hall bond will be made on a case-by-case basis depending on the hall route selected. So in some instances, it would be possible for a developer to select a hall route that might not require a bond if he ends up on state.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily on every development. It just depends on, but he has to provide his hall bond. He has to get with Mike, this is what I propose to do, and then the theory would be that Mike and them could maybe suggest some other routes that the county would rather see him go. And of course, there'll be the bond. We'll go over that in a minute, get to the end. Had a little bit of this earlier. This is still private streets and gated development, so it's not exactly the situation that you had earlier on a public street with a gate on it. But here, there's some changes or some proposed revisions that on a private street, the way which is allowed now in the regulation. But what we're proposing here is a 20-year maintenance plan, so that it shows that they've thought about how are they going to overlay the streets, how are they going to generate the revenue, how are they going to maintain the streets and drainage along that thoroughfare in that private development. They've got to submit an emergency access plan to show you on the front end how they're going to get police, fire, medical rescue. All of those, if they're going to have a gated community, what their plan is for getting emergency response folks in and out of the community. They've got to submit a scheduled service plan, school bus, mail service, the local water and sewer provider, how are we going to get them in and out of the community? So it's just on the front end, they're having to submit a proposal that lays out the plan on how they're going to take care of all of that.
Well, on that, the school district has to work something out with them, whether they're going to even go in there or not. And same with garbage or whatever.
Correct.
That would just be.
And that would be part of their plan.
That's
just
them, that's not us, that's between them.
That's just to show you on the front end that they've gone and done that. Right. They've gone and done their homework and done those things. The plats shall clearly indicate that the streets are not public and will not be maintained by the county. Documents for transfer of the property must state that the streets are not public and will not be maintained by the county.
They'll still have to be built to county standard.
Correct.
I have a quick question, Craig. Like we were talking this morning on Bellamy, when they build a entrance on county right of way, how do we handle that in case the HOA abandons the deal or whatever? I mean, since it is on right of way, have the authority to go in and do?
Take track of it, tear it down.
Go in there and do it.
I mean, I'm saying it facetiously, but I would think.
Turn it back into an easily maintainable leave it open.
Just either leave it open or take it down.
So should we require them to put fencing on county right of way? Have that authority or that flexibility? Or do we allow them?
I would think it need to be on theirs, not us.
You get put on us and they abandon it, we walk in them. If they put it on theirs and they put it on their HOA green property, and then then we constantly fighting trying to figure out we got legal authority going on the property.
But we can allow it to go on public, on our property.
You can allow anything you want to allow in your right of way. Does not transfer ownership.
Okay, well, what if something runs into that on our right of way?
Sir?
If somebody has a wreck or something runs into it on our right of way, are we responsible?
Well, it depends.
I mean, if they build all this elaborate stuff on our right of way, and there's unfortunate.
Did we know on the front end that they were going to do it? And is it the type of obstruction that we either knew or reasonably should know could cause an accident situation? That's the argument that they would make.
I don't think it's any different than this county building sitting here. Are we negligent if somebody gets in their car, thinks they're hitting the brake and hits the accelerator and runs into this building? Were we negligent? No. And if we have these and they're not in the road or obstructing the road.
Right. I just question.
An even better one would be the very sign.
I knew you would have one.
It tells you which building this is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the road.
The question would become, should we have located our courthouse annex sign
at a different
in the
place,
Highway 8 right away at that location.
to where you couldn't see it.
I suggest to you, probably hundreds of thousands of cars go past that thing every year without incident. Not-
I'm just throwing it out there, just as a thought. I mean,
Yeah. I think if they abandon it, or it's not in compliance with what we said, then we, it's in our, we have the authority to
It's in our
remove
right
it.
of way, go
So it
to-
has to be in our right of way, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, I mean, do we need to make that part of a proposed development? That you're required to, subject to approval, or we kind of wait and play that, just kind of see, just tell Buster we want him to make sure that,
Yes, sir. There's so much flexibility in
Man.
where our right of way is anyway.
yeah.
We can run more snakes out than we can kill. I mean, if we start trying to get deep in the weeds and address everything that possibly could happen,
You can sue anybody for that.
I mean, right.
I just threw it out there because
Yeah.
it's public and private, that's all.
We're no strangers to litigation. Are we?
All right, continue on.
I like snake thing, I'm gonna use that one day.
Well, some of them will bite you.
Permanent easements now, we talked about easements for water, sewer, natural gas. Permanent easements will be dedicated to homeowners associations or residential developments or a management authority for commercial development. Easements may not be dedicated to the county for maintenance. That just says that, and I think that's basically kind of the way you're operating now, it just says it.
Yep.
Minimum easement should be 10-foot minimum width, both sides of the road parallel and adjacent to the right-of-way, street right-of-way. Drainage easements should be a minimum 15 feet if they have to run parallel along the road. There's reference, that's where it actually is in the ordinance. The 5 years for the detention is in that section there.
Beginning when, did that say, at the last sentence?
It says final plat approval, so we may want to make a change there.
I think the other one
When
said
it
the
goes
same
into,
thing.
when it goes into service.
Yep.
I think this slide says the documents, the developers have provided. Somewhere in one of these, it says that the county will go, here, the county will collect field data, which I think this is a change. At the end of the construction of the detention basin, the county is going to go out and verify that the basin was built like the developer's engineers said it was going to be built. Size, elevations, and things. And just the fact that it is going to do, that it was built the way the approved plan said it was going to be built.
So what I'd like to see us maybe do with that 5-year warranty window is to connect that to the date that the developer transfers the common areas and detention basins to the HOA or the property management group. That puts it back on the developer to set the date of the 5-year window. So when he transfers it out of himself onto the HOA, that starts the 5-year warranty clock. Because who we're really trying to protect, to be honest with you, are the residents out there.
Right, right.
Okay.
No, I know the whole thing.
Make that change.
Okay, when he transfers it from himself.
Who's
to the
responsible,
other-
who's responsible for then who's gonna be responsible for the settlement that fills in that retention pond?
If it
Within the
fills
5
in,
years.
within the 5
The
years.
HOA.
No, do what now?
The HOA.
Within the 5 years, that's right.
Well, even after the 5 years.
Then it's the HOA.
Is it doing
Yeah,
what it's supposed to
right.
do, and is this actually?
And their only help after that,
Yeah, but
DEQ.
we can't
But that's.
force them to clean it out.
This says,
That was,
We can,
But
I know
if
one
you
need,
can get them in the game,
that was our,
right.
gotta be able to get them in the
you
game.
know, we tried with South
They
Haven.
That's
want
exactly right.
Pick and choose,
So
that's
does-
Exactly right.
all it is.
Maintenance.
All right.
Maintenance. You see the word? That's what you're telling them.
Yeah.
It's gotta be maintained for a 5-year period. That's on the developer. So
After-
it's
and he's
After
going to
it's
put up a
closed out.
bond that we'll change to say, instead of date of final plat approval, we'll change that to say date from transfer from developer to the HOA or the security group
So
if
they
it's
could be
commercial.
building for 5 years.
So it'd be the date.
Yeah. Okay.
And it does, Jared, allows, the red there, that except in a case of emergency. So if a detention basin has filled in due to lack of maintenance to the point where it's causing somebody's house about to flood or something like that, the county can still run in there to prevent that emergency from happening.
Well, honestly, in the end, if it's filled in any amount, whether it's flooding or anything, they need to be cleaning it out.
And that's the security is for 5 years. We'll give the county funds to do that if they don't do it.
Okay.
There we're back. That's just the same. We'll have to change the wording. That's just a little more detail on what we've already discussed. A 2-year warranty from surface asphalt. This maybe, Jay, was what you were talking about earlier. Major natural drainage conveyance may not be altered without prior approval of the county engineer. We've defined major drainage conveyance as being any ditch that would, when using the calculations that we tell you have to use in Appendix F to calculate runoff, if the pipe required is greater than 36 inch in diameter, we're calling that major drainage. And so you cannot change that drainage without prior approval of the county engineer. Then alterations to major drainage conveyance systems shall primarily be open channel sections with hard armor. So we're saying riprap the ditches. If it's running, if you think the engineer thinks he needs to do something to it, he can't pipe it. He can rock it, or put some kind of hard armor. Not necessarily.
36 though, he can't.
Up to 36. We're saying that's just based on some other discussions that we have here. That was the number we picked.
36 is pretty big. But it's okay. You're comfortable with that?
Yeah, because this doesn't take a whole lot of area when you get the rain that we got last night. It doesn't take a whole lot of area to need a 36-inch pipe.
Yeah, okay.
Lighting, this is another change that we
y'all okay with that? That sounds good?
Well, I was just asking. I mean, I'm okay. I was just questioning the 36 is a pretty good sized pipe. So you can go up to 36.
I'm not the engineer. I don't know.
No.
What
they're taking care of is the stuff like you running into the 60 and 40.
Right.
Was real quick on the open ditch on these high density developments. Are we going to try to impose open ditches on these high density developments?
If there's going to be a
We're going to require open ditch, or is that going to be a negotiation?
Personally, I would like to see it, if it's going to be in high density, that means they're going through somebody's backyard. I would rather it be open ditch than it covered up, 5-foot pipes going through the back of people's yards.
So that would eliminate up to 36.
Because at the end of 25, 30 years, it's going to fail and it's going to have to be replaced.
Just like we're dealing with out there.
Well, I get the replacement part, but it's going to be, you fellows saying,
I'm just saying there's no way.
Sewer areas are going to have big pushback from the developer because you're impacting his density, is what you're doing,
Right.
potentially.
You're taking out 10 lots.
You're taking out a whole bunch of money.
Yep.
So,
Right. What do you think?
I get it. I don't know if there's another solution to it. I'm all for open ditches. I mean, I'm not looking for the county to spend any more money than it has to. But I'm just telling you where the pushback is going to come. The first time somebody up there at Castle Woods or up on the reservoir somewhere wants to put in some, 7,500 lot development, square foot lot development.
Also,
They
Bob,
60
in my opinion, what this is saying also, in addition to not being able to cover it up, you can't change it. You got to build around where the flow goes.
Well, and that
you
says
can
it's up
reroute
for discussion with the engineer.
Well, that's why
the engineer would have to prove it.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wanted
Yeah, it doesn't say you can't alter. It says alterations to major drainage conveyance systems shall primarily be open channel. So it's not saying you can't relocate a ditch with a county engineer's approval. It's just saying you've got to come in on this, but we're not going to let you put a pipe in under this ordinance.
Where it zigzags, you might have to straighten it out over here, and it has to be approved that it's going to be straight here.
I've seen in the past where they've gone and done it over a period of years. It's going to go back where it was originally. I mean, there's a reason why it flows the way it does.
If it's not hard armored, that's right. It'll try to go back to the original ditch.
Yeah.
That's right.
So if they go and rip-wrap it, you think it'll be okay?
Oh, if they hard armor it, you can force it to not go back to that original.
All right.
That's the word, hard armor it.
Okay.
Well,
I learned something today.
What we're trying to show there is we're not going to force you into riprap, which is what we all think of hard armor being, because we normally
What
use. But
else?
there's there's all gabions. There's lots of things you see people using now instead of riprap that look better. If you got a higher class development, you don't want rock in your ditch, but you want a hard armor ditch. There's all kinds of products out there that you can use that straight wall instead of having to slope back if you have a space limitation. So you can use things. There's lots of things available that are aesthetically pleasing but do work just as well as riprap.
Okay. Because I don't know what gabion is, but.
A gabion is the basket full of rocks. You've seen the baskets full of hand-placed rocks.
Mill Creek.
Okay.
That's called a gabion.
Gotcha.
Basket of rocks.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, there's several places around the county where we have gabions.
This was news to me.
Lighting, this was another.
Well, that's why I want us to go over it, because I knew we discussed this when we met with them.
We never tried stuff. Jerry and I met, I think, with that first edition. We never talked like I did that.
Oh, lighting? Oh, no, I'm just talking about the drainage. Never mind.
Well, I did.
Do you want to go back to this?
Go back to oh, you still there? You
Back
don't
up to the lighting.
Oh, go back to lighting.
Go
Okay.
forward.
Well, again, this is a change. Lighting is required. Lights be provided at all intersections every 200 feet between intersections. Spacing in excess of 200 feet may be acceptable in low-density rural areas. So that on a case-by-case basis, you could approve lighting out in a rural area that's as far as you wanted to approve it.
How many miles of road do we have at Rankin County?
Lights shall be provided
Wait a
at
minute,
all
wait.
intersections and every.
Yeah, I think I kind of.
You're not saying we're accepting the road, the lights, are you?
Yeah.
All streets within the development that are to be dedicated to the county shall include lighting.
No.
It doesn't say we're accepting the
No,
lights.
I don't want no, I'm not accepting the lighting.
That's not saying that.
I don't want that. Huh?
You talking about some money?
That's not saying we're accepting it. It's saying that wherever we have an accepted road, they must be lit. But anyway, I'm not saying
Well,
that's
but we
necessarily
did
something
talk
we need
about
to do.
spreading the
but-
lighting out. I do remember that because that came up in here. Remember that when we.
Large lots.
Large lots and in
lots,
rural
so They
areas.
were talking about every 200 feet. I mean, no, it was what, like, it was narrow, short span, and they said that's too many.
How did we come up with a 200 foot?
That's
Because of-
fairly common in municipal subdivisions. The 200 feet is a fairly common.
So
But
do
if
we
it's
not need to
large
put
lots, you
in
spread it
high
out.
density?
We can put it in here, whatever you guys want us to put
Or
in here.
medium
We can take it
density?
out. It's just something that,
I think it'd be their discretion whether they want lights or not. Why
I
would
think if
they
it's
wanna
going to be
require?
medium density, it's a no-brainer. They need it. You know,
Well, here goes back to the question with the HOA and everything else. If you say the HOA's got to pay for it, the HOA goes away, and you got light poles up there that, have lights, that room is going to be full. Everybody's going to be in there. That development want you to start.
well, from
paying
day
lights.
one, I mean, this isn't nothing new, man. There's lights in every subdivision we have,
But
and
we
they
don't-
pay the
We
bill.
don't maintain them.
I'm saying we are, or I'm not asking us to. I'm just saying that every subdivision has lights.
But we're gonna require them to put lights in there? I mean, a high density one, I guess, doesn't that just kinda come with it?
Yeah, high density.
Yeah.
Kinda like sidewalks.
Well, you think about medium density, that's 4 houses per acre. That's a lot of houses. So
Well, I mean,
That's actually high density.
I thought
By the time-
to
by the time
me
you
it
take the
is.
road- By the time you take the road or the ditch out, you got about an 8 to 10,000 square
Right,
foot lot.
exactly.
So that's really high density.
Yeah.
I consider that more high density.
Well, the reason why I said it a while ago, they referenced medium as 8,500 square foot lot. So, but I mean, I don't know if we have to force it to be there. That's something that'll take care of itself.
I think it's kind of let the development decide what they want.
Yeah.
The developer decide how he wants to do it.
so
I
take,
kinda agree with Bob on that.
take the lighting out totally, take section 312 totally out of the proposed ordinance.
Well, you put it in there. it'd be
I don't know about
discretion.
that. I like the last one back up, please. If you're gonna put it in, it needs to be, that need to be, Chriso, mold.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this, lights, it tells you a little bit about the light and how high it's got to be if you're going to use it.
Light poles.
concrete or decorative metal pole.
Yeah.
So it does put some,
address that.
if you're going to put lighting in your development, it makes you meet a certain standard. But this is requiring that you put it in there.
Well, is it a way you can say that it's optional, but if you're gonna put it in, this is what it has to be?
Sure, if that's what you want to say.
I would say that 312.02 lights shall be provided at all intersections and then not in every 200 feet between intersections for high and medium density subdivisions.
Well, and it'd be at their discretion if they
But I
want to
mean-
put it in. I mean, you have to, you're gonna require it.
Well, only at the intersections.
Yeah.
High and medium density, and then it'd be their discretion, if they want to do it anywhere else. But at the intersections, these, if you want to put it in there, I don't have hardly any, and we're not gonna get very many more high or medium density in District 4. We don't have sewage to take care of it. So that's not really a big issue with me like it is y'all.
Not me either. Be only in the city limits, they have their own.
And then we don't have it anyhow.
Right, they have their own.
Okay, just strike the whole thing.
So just strike lighting totally?
No, I think, I like the part about if there is lighting, it needs to be on concrete or
Right.
decorative metal.
I think you can leave it there, but it can be
Optional, but if you decide to
optional,
do
but
it.
if you have, it has to meet this, yes. I mean, I wouldn't say we gotta force them to, but most of them are gonna do it where it's needed anyway.
Could
Alan,
the
is there a
first
statement on maintenance?
3.12,
Huh?
Is there-
What?
3.1201 just say all streets within the development that are to be lighted shall include? That gives them the option, that just
Yeah.
says if you're gonna light it, then you gotta abide by these rules.
Well,
That's
that
all they
would
have to
work.
light.
Or to be dedicated.
Well, instead of saying that are to be dedicated to the county, you could say all streets within the development that are going to be dedicated to the county that are to be lighted. That would give them the option to light them or not light them.
Yeah.
And then everything else still stays the
Yeah.
same if they choose to
That's
light.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I like them to have that option.
What about maintenance?
Way to go, Tim.
Lights, Alan?
He told me.
Oh,
The maintenance,
Maintenance on the lights.
Well,
There's there's really nothing in here. We need to add something because there's nothing. It doesn't say the homeowners. We probably need to add something that says that
definitely need
maintenance
something.
shall be the responsibility of the
I
homeowner
think we take your
association.
streets
Is that
over, we're
right?
gonna take the lights over.
or management
I mean, I
company.
just-
Or a management
I don't
company.
wanna hang the county with maintaining lights.
So we need to add a
Shall be
06.
maintained by anybody other than.
that's why it's real easy. Lighting shall not be maintained. Yeah. I think it kind of takes care of itself now. I don't know about forcing it
Yeah.
to be done every certain.
I've had them ask, how come we can't have lighting on some of these rural roads?
Yeah.
Okay.
They move from some subdivision, it's dark out there.
Yeah.
And they really,
Hello.
seriously,
It's very dark.
that's the reason we're out there.
We love applications.
All right, there's
Love applications.
there's the application fee, and this just kind of goes through the process. It says within 5 working days of submittal of the application, the county will notify the developer in writing of approval, rejection, or reasons why additional time is required. Well, for whatever reason, we couldn't go through the application fee in 5 days. Application of the review it. Same thing, preliminary plat, just a little more formal. We're going to within 30 days give the developer, tell him in writing whether it's approved, whether it's rejected, and why it's rejected, or why we need more time to review it. There's going to be a construction drawing review fee in addition to the application fee. Same type of wording about the time frame there. This is new. Any construction activity that the county is unable to observe due to the actions or inactions of the developer shall be deemed a failure. So the intent there is, and you'll see here in a minute, if there's pipe going across the county road and the developer has been told to not cover the pipe until a county representative gets there, look at it, and he covers the pipe, then the ordinance says the pipe failed. It's an unacceptable installation because we weren't able to see it.
Okay.
The things now that under the new ordinance that the county will have to, or the representative will have to look at: installation of the SWIP BMPs, drainage pipes, curb and gutter, subgrade proof roll, which we're doing that one now. Street subgrade proof roll we're doing now. Placement of asphalt base course and placement of asphalt surface course. So there's 6 things there, 2 of which we're currently looking at. So there's another fee. Construction field observation fee. What's important there is in the red: cost of revisits to observe testing that initially failed will be the responsibility of the developer. So you're the initial construction observation fee. There'll be a chart here in a minute based on the size of his development, tells him how many sites how many site visits he gets for that fee. Anything that's fails due to his action or inaction or didn't put it in right, to go back and look at it is an additional fee. Of course, the surface asphalt security you're getting that now, but there's a proposed revisions that you'll have a new security to retention, maintenance security. This is a little bit of a change right now. I think we're just getting one hard copy set of the drawings. The proposed revision is to, because I say compact disc, but jump drive, some digital format on that datum, with the hope that would just easily pull right into your database, just from, instead of somebody having to draw it, the digital hard, the street right away and all would pull right into your database.
Quick question for you, Alan, on the fees, these extra fees, who's billing that? We or you?
In this would be the county.
Who's going to do that?
Renee?
I mean, we can do that. I mean, that's just, yeah, we can change. I mean, we can certainly.
I mean, right now, if this thing goes to effect, we have it spelled out that X number of lots, you pay X dollars, and that in theory covers up to so many inspections, right?
Yes.
But anything extra has to be invoiced out separately. You would have to notify Renee's office.
We would have to track that for you.
We'll track it.
Yes.
We don't want to do the invoicing because we don't want to invoice anybody like that. We go through the county.
But we would have to track it.
Wasn't it discussed?
Yeah, we would have to track it.
Wasn't it discussed?
That wouldn't be any way for y'all to track
Who
it.
are they going to call? You know, because before we discussed it, was like they were going to call the engineer's office for inspections.
I think they should, because it's their schedule. You could put Renee in the middle of it and say, well, let me check their schedule. It's a constant callback. I think the developer should be calling Alan or whoever your point person is in your office.
Yes.
To schedule
Correct.
That's the way it should be.
That wouldn't change, and we would just have to track those times with each development that we had to go back and there was an additional charge. We would have to track that and then get that to somebody. That process would have to be worked out, the details of that, but because there would be no way for them to know, we would be the only one to know that.
And then a simple statement in there, which I'm sure this is obvious, that any and all outstanding invoices regarding that development have to be paid prior to approval. By the board.
You wouldn't approve the next step,
That's right.
final, until all the invoices have been paid.
To us.
Correct. Of course, that one's just up there all by itself. That's a change. Not, is everybody still good with that? This is the fee structure, $125 per lot up to a $600 maximum. So the application fee is about what it is now, I think. That's maybe a little higher.
Getting back to the sidewalk deal, are we not going to have how are we gonna address people being able to ride their bikes or walk down the street?
Tell them to get in the county, keep in the street. Do it.
What do you mean? How?
Most
Same
of the
way they do it
sidewalks are so
now?
rough anyway. They're not on.
Okay.
I mean, for a bicycle or something
Yeah.
like that, they can still walk down it, but they won't fall into a sinkhole.
So we're not gonna do anything in terms of providing space?
Yeah, some of them's got
in the
some
roads?
ramps. Mike and I looked at something the other day. We got some. I mean, them
Yeah.
kids get going about. It's a pretty good one.
Pretty awesome.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Slade was showing
Well, what
how
are you
ramp it,
trying to
get a little
provide?
more
What are
air.
you talking, a bike lane?
Well, that's what
Do that.
I didn't know if we needed to provide, a little wider road.
I mean, if that main drive coming in there was a little wider, that might help out a little.
Well, that'd be
bit.
kind of, we could make that suggestion to the developer. If he wants to create a bike lane within the road, then it'd be his desire to submit the plans.
Well, none of them are gonna do that.
No.
Well, but actually a bike can ride on the road anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
You just don't want to get a place to skate.
We can move on.
Skateboard.
Okay, so that's, the maximum application fee would be $600 on this proposal regardless of the size of the development. And here's the table that shows the construction drawing review fee for the review, county engineer review. And it's just based on the length of street and the length of drainage within the development, because that's where most of the time is spent in review. And you see for an extremely large development there, you just have to look at those on a case-by-case basis and determine at the pre-application meeting what the construction review fee would be, and let the developer know prior to him taking that next step. The construction field observation fee is based the same, and it tells you the number of visits there. So cross drains, which we'd be looking at in the street, it's just kind of based on our experience of how long it takes us to run out and do each of those. And then the bottom down, developer pays all cost of retesting for failed test at actual cost to county.
Can you tell me where we come up with these numbers?
Yes, sir. We came up with those numbers based on what we know it generally takes for us to go out, for example, and do a curb and gutter proof roll. So if we do a curb and gutter proof roll for 500 feet, it generally takes X number of time for the field rep to go out there, go through the proof roll, and that's how, and his hourly rate. And then that is, as you can see now, that's bumped for 6 visits for the cost. So that's taken into account. For example, if a guy's got, wouldn't happen so much on 500 feet, but one we just had here recently where we made 9 trips to a curb and gutter proof roll, and all 9 failed. It was the 10th visit before the developer got a curb and gutter proof, and it was only on about half of the total curb and gutter in the development. So there are some averages there based on what we normally see happen. So for $1,500 on that development there, what we're saying is we can run out there 6 times as long as things are not failing. So those numbers were just based on our time, the hourly rate, and then it was bumped up a little to provide a little safety factor there.
So did we get any other information from other counties like DeSoto, or is this all?
Not on this.
Is this all new?
Yes, sir. No, this is all
Way
new.
north like that.
Okay.
Now we've got the total fees from other counties,
Right.
But so I think we gave that. I don't have that with me. We know where these fees, the total cost of developer, where that ranks to DeSoto County and all of that. I don't have that with me, but we do have that.
Okay.
But this table was not generated based on their table
I got you.
or anything like that.
All right.
That's true. You go with those feet.
I'm of the opinion that, I don't care what the other counties are doing, if we're gonna have this ordinance, we want these requirements in there, I wanna make sure they do it right,
Well, the only reason he's saying that is someone that build other places come back and say we don't.
Continue to build on to be in other places. I mean, cost us a 1 ton, we'll have to correct the state.
because of the variables, we don't, is there any way for us to know kind of general idea the additional cost that this ordinance is going to place on developers?
We do. And again, I've got that information and think we have presented that where Madison County, Rankin County, what these proposed fees, how it reflects against what you're currently doing and against Madison County.
I was
And
saying
DeSoto
total
County.
cost.
We do have that. And what it broke down, I don't have that with me and I apologize.
Memory serves me right. What if we approve this? We're going to be the highest of the three. We're going to be higher than Madison County and DeSoto County.
No, I just want to know what additional costs we're about to put on developers from today.
And we had it broke down. We had it broke down to a cost per lot. We had it broke down the way they want to see it, to a cost per lot.
Yeah.
We've got that number.
I'd like to send it to
Yes.
me. I don't want a big old document. I want it pretty easy.
No, it's
for I
in
can
a
understand.
form, and I
Okay.
thought we had presented it before. It's just in a, it's in a sheet. It's in one sheet.
All right, okay. I didn't want you to send me
Talk
30
about that
pages.
thick, you'll feed through it.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It was like, I mean, it wasn't, maybe $150 a lot.
The number I remember is $131 a lot. Don't hold me to that, but it was a negligible number per
Okay.
lot. It was $131, I think.
Okay.
On an average size development.
On average.
That's,
I know we can't get them all.
$200 a lot.
this is what you're already doing. So this just shows them this is how the surface security, the wearing course security bond is calculated. Do what?
Are we okay at 1.5?
1.5. Well,
Are we okay with a safety factor of 1.5?
for the asphalt, that's what that is. That .11 virtually is 2 inches. What that is, that's 2 inches of surface times times your area there, and then and then you take that number and multiply it by 1.5.
Yes.
Well,
You and I talked about going up on that percentage.
That's up to y'all. This is what you're currently doing. We can revise it if you want to.
Because of changes in cost of asphalt, is what it amounted to.
We like 2 times.
All right. Well, we don't want to get stuck, for sure.
That needs to
Right
go up.
now, it doesn't make sense when gas is at $1.95 a gallon, but when it goes to 3 and 3.5, and your asphalt prices go,
Yes, and
I like 2 times, a lot better.
yeah, the county has been bitten a few times.
Yes.
Where we had
We've been
letters
bitten
of
here
credit
recently
and
on
using that
very shot.
1.5.
Bear in mind, this is security. This is
Right.
collateral. The
Yeah.
developer can go put the surface down and we
Everything's fine.
release it.
Yeah. All right.
You're right, Al. $133 a lot.
That's how I was thinking.
I didn't take it. How'd you come up with that?
It's off the top of his head. It's
Oh,
off his
okay.
top of his head.
All right.
He's doing some math over there.
That's pretty impressive if he was, you know.
Come on, Bob. You gotta go with me.
Is he insinuating I'm not pretty impressive? Just kidding. So are we changing this 1.5 to 2?
I didn't even have any paper. I mean, I just.
I was thinking 150.
Okay, so we're going to change that to 2, but again, that's the formula is what, that's just how you calculate that. So we'll change that to 2. This is new. Now so if you have a 3-acre detention basin times 5 years is 15 times right now $750 an acre. It's just a rough ballpark estimate what it would cost per acre to go in and cut and clean out that detention basin if it needed maintenance. And that's.
I'd like for y'all to come clean some of my ponds for that price.
Really?
I don't think you can do it. You can
Okay,
do it.
well, we can put any number. That's what we thought the county.
The county's going to determine that through the engineer, so if 750 doesn't get it done, and it needs to be 1,000, they can set it.
That number can be whatever.
I guess that's just for information about what we're doing now, or what we could do if we did it.
Well, would you put a number there, or would you be to be determined?
I think you can leave that off.
Just say to be determined?
Yeah, because otherwise they're gonna say, well, it says right there, $750.
Man.
I'll let y'all do it.
Yeah, you clean one of them, I'd say your 2-acre one, you'd be looking at more than 5,000. Easy.
Really?
Oh, you gotta drain it.
You gotta drain it and get up in
Drain
it.
right.
Mulch.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
You may have to bring in specialized equipment to do
Got
something.
a long arm, reach out there. Big guy.
Okay, so we'll revise that.
I don't think you put a number on it.
Okay, we'll just revise to say to be determined.
Vary, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's good. So we'll just take the number out and just show them the,
You got it right, to be
Format.
determined.
Format.
and that's it.
Okay,
All right, man.
good deal.
Hey, do we have something?
Do you still want me to send you that?
No.
Hey, do we have something, already or whatever if the developer, we get a platted subdivision, how long that holds before they have to start something? If they've come in and platted that,
We've already started the inspections already.
no.
Are you talking about
No.
the guidelines of these?
Yeah, I mean, no, if they start, sometimes someone come in and plat it and they won't do it for, something happens, economy, whatever, and they won't do it for several years, and then they come back and want to go by that same one. By then, the dynamics have changed maybe in the area.
It's not addressed in this ordinance. I don't know if it's addressed.
It seems like there's something in our existing ordinance, if it goes a year without nothing going on.
Well, we need something.
It has to come back again.
Yeah, I need to add something, because I don't think it's addressed in here at all.
No, it's not.
I think we need something, because I know one that was, they didn't do it, but it was approved 8 years ago.
Well, it'd be nice if we go back to ones that we did rezoning on, and allow high density subdivisions to just go back and take them out.
Take off the rezoning.
Or, yeah.
Well, I mean, you may have to have it.
We did that one on 468. You did that going forward.
Well, why couldn't you come back and make them look at the zoning again if they have not started after a certain period of time? It may not be what you need there then.
I'm not the attorney, I don't know the answer to it. But yeah, I would hope that there's a period of time,
Yeah.
we should be able to.
Craig, what do you think?
Yes, he was in
As
the
far as
conversation that we
interrupting the
Oh.
meeting here.
Me too.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
You didn't get that? Why don't you give the answer?
Buster had a question for you. I'm usually Buster had a question about giving an answer even when I don't know what the question is. But
No, we're talking about a time period there. If you've come in and platted a subdivision and you don't start it within a certain period of time, how you're gonna have to come back to the county, and at the same time, you may have to revisit the way it's zoned, because some things, the zoning, doesn't fit by then, it's set there so long that the dynamics of the area has changed.
Yep.
And Craig, I was telling him, I think we've got something in our old, I don't know if it's ever been used, but if, let's say they submit the preliminary plat, we're getting ready to go. If something has not started within 12 months, they start over.
yeah, I like the idea of us, if we approve something and then no activity occurs for whatever reason.
Yeah.
There needs to be a time frame where we say, no, you gotta start over.
For each stage, Craig, like preliminary plat, and then he's got 12 months, and then he gets construction drawings in, then he's got 12 months of approval of that. So every step would have a time associated with it?
Well,
Yes.
I don't
know if 12 months is the time.
Well, whatever the time is.
I don't know what the time is. I just know things change, and you got. Y'all know where some of them are. They've just been sitting there. They ran in and got this approved, but they've not done a thing.
Well, I know the area of 469, 468, that we had approved some rezoning, that they went belly up.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to go in and undo that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So issues where we say something about zoning in the context of the development ordinance is probably not appropriate, because zoning is controlled by a separate ordinance.
Right.
I don't really want to mix the two. I would prefer to keep zoning matters
All
where
right.
they need to be and to focus on the development ordinance. So to Alan's point, if they're going to submit a preliminary, then they've got to act on that within so much time.
Okay.
Maybe 6 months, and have a safety valve in there that says that the county has the discretion to extend that deadline if circumstances warrant.
Okay, what if they do like some of the ones Jay's referring to? They've built, gone in and roughed in some streets and got some pipes sticking up, and it's been sitting there now for
Yes.
10 years.
Yes, sir.
But we've actually started it. You know, that's what they say, they actually started it.
You start getting take property rights away, you start taking values away from people, you know, the zoning thing, just arbitrarily going in and trying to change that zoning without giving.
No, I'm not necessarily talking about the zoning, I'm talking about the fact they've not done anything, it's just laid there.
Well, the
dormant.
biggest problem
This
is
is
the zoning,
development.
though.
Huh?
The biggest problem is the zoning.
Okay,
because
well,
we've
yeah.
allowed it to be rezoned to a high-density subdivision, and we don't really want a high-density subdivision there now because we got plenty of small homes in the area.
That's
So
right.
what you say, Jay.
But there again, they let it just sit there.
Under that circumstances, you say, this is not a zoning matter, and there won't be necessarily any adjustment to the zoning context, but you are resubmitting your development under our development ordinance, and we're not going to approve anything that is greater than this particular density in that area.
Because of market conditions.
Because of market
Right.
conditions, because of the surrounding
that's what I'm
community.
saying.
So even though it's zoned correctly, we can come in and say, nada.
If you can establish the justification for it, yes. Can they sue you
Sure.
and make an allegation?
Okay.
Yes, sir. They
They can if you change the
It's a fight,
zoning.
it's a fight worth
They'll do it all.
fighting if it's
Either way.
They
Yeah, I
have a
mean,
better
you got
shot
it sitting here like
if you
that,
change
and
the
it's just
zoning.
sitting there, then all of a sudden you got these big, nice, 3-acre lots, and they've all developed here, and there's one over here, and this is stuck in the middle. And all of a sudden, they're gonna come in and put, 1,300 square foot homes.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
But that
But
development
it's
you're
been
talking
si-
about has been bought by somebody.
Has it?
They cleaned it up on it now.
They're wanting to petition the
Craig,
city to take
if
them
we
in
put a
already.
time on the development
Really?
part, I would
They've
rather
been
go with
cleaning
a year. I mean, just like this
Like
year,
clipping or cleaning something out
you
there.
could have great
That's when you
plans
don't
and
back this up from-
we've had so much rain from January through June, and there's 6 months.
It makes sense. It's easier for us to
A
police.
year, yeah.
It's easier for us to police.
And we're gonna handle the same, I mean, we're gonna take care of our problem with a
You
year.
okay with
12
a year?
months, yeah. Yeah, I mean, but I'm gonna do it at every stage.
Each state.
All right, okay, and what's to go in and build one house and just it, we're done, stop.
Well, he won't make it past that stage. I mean, in a year, it's over, because he
Okay.
didn't
Well, if
fulfill
you
his
do that,
plan.
but at the end of 1 year, then he's got to
Unless he
start
comes
over.
back in and asks for an
That's right.
Yeah.
year extension or whatever.
Yeah.
Alan, just build some language in there, a little asterisk or something, that special circumstances will be considered by the consulting engineer or the board, something like that.
Or Renee, or
right.
Laura.
What
I
about?
just think they need to revisit it, yeah.
Okay, there's a couple more things. Green space. What are we gonna do as far as entrances, having landscape? Or is that gonna be something separate, or?
Yeah, that's in here, but it wasn't part of these slides, Jay, and I apologize, because it just says that the entrance to a current public street that you're tying to on a development has to have landscaping, and I think it's just real general. It doesn't tie anything down to what that
I think that's
is.
all we can do.
It's just real wide open to allow just about anything that they would call landscaping.
I don't think that we need to get the definition too narrow, but where they put some of these landscapes, even during their construction, you can't turn a half-ton truck in a 16-foot trailer in
Right.
without jumping over the curb. So just to be aware with Buster and them, when we're looking at them, make sure they're offset off the road, because I know what it is they're not wanting to use up any more of their space than they have to, and they bubble it out right at the road. And even when the homeowners get in there and want to pull a boat trailer in and out, they've got to go out to the other lane to make it around their own landscape.
Well, something that's, not that I've had all these developments down there, but some of the ones we've had, we've asked them, and they've been accommodating to make it.
I think if we address it up front,
yeah.
just, I don't
And
want.
we've done that in the beginning on the preliminary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it, yeah.
All right.
Jay?
One more thing. Several years ago, we were hit by DEQ about dams, high hazard dams, and we had discussed developers coming in, if they're building below a dam, that they need to have the responsibility, to make sure that the dam is in good repair, or get it in good repair prior to putting the development in.
Yeah, that is true.
So
Yeah, the ordinance addresses a new detention basin that would be a high, would make them go through DEQ and do all that. But it doesn't address what you're talking about, an existing dam that's sitting there and somebody's fixing to build below that. So we'll have to ask
The
that.
existing dam might be my dam.
right.
And you gonna ask the developer to fix my dam?
Yeah, because it's not that landowner's
Well,
fault.
I can tell you what
Somebody's gonna
DEQ
develop below
did,
it.
DEQ did to somebody I know. They said you can fix it or drain it. He had to drain it.
Wait a minute, you're saying that he had a dam on his property.
Yep.
Somebody built below him and they made him
They
do
built,
something
they had a
with this.
development going in down, and he was either you fix your dam or drain the lake down to this point, and that, it can never be that fit, so he had to put a pipe in that keeps the lake down.
Well,
which it
that was
did away with.
exactly what we had discussed prior to. That really shouldn't be,
I
the
know, but I'm
landowner's
just saying,
fault.
what he did, yeah, that's what happened, I know.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I know 2 different subdivisions had to go in and pay to get their dam done because they affected people down from it.
Plantation Shores had to do that
So,
there,
I mean,
because
that's,
the people downstream.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're gonna, that'd be good, but I don't know. In some ways, I'm kind of torn there because this development came in after my dam's been there for a long time. Now, Grant,
Right.
I let the trees grow up on it, but that's always just been wooded land, whatever down here. Now you're gonna come in and make me, the developer, fix that.
If he wants to put a subdivision below a dam where it be high hazard, I think the developer needs to have some responsibility there.
It might be interesting to try to force that. I mean, I'm just using a discussion. I'm not
Yeah.
against it. I'm just saying,
How
that'd be hard.
How else going forward? I think.
I mean, isn't that almost an automatic trigger for you guys when y'all look at a subdivision that has a lake in it, they gotta get state approvals?
If there's a lake in it, correct, or if they're proposing a lake in it, then the ordinance covers that having to go to DEQ and get all the, whether it's a high hazard, moderate, low hazard. If it's high hazard, you got to have an emergency action plan and all that. Covers all of that. Jason is a little different, and it doesn't cover
Joining.
an existing lake, and in fact, depending on the size of the lake, it wouldn't necessarily even have to be adjoining property. A dam can be high hazard when you run a breach analysis. Wherever that water flows, it can make it high hazard. So it wouldn't even have to be adjacent. If it was a big enough lake, it could be a quarter of a mile upstream. Nothing down here. Somebody puts a development in down here and turns this man's lake from low hazard to high hazard, and he didn't do anything. The lake didn't change. Somebody building downstream changed the classification of the dam, which is going to throw DEQ into him having to have an emergency action plan.
Let me suggest that we just simply have a way to denote in the ordinance. If there is a high hazard dam situation that shows up somewhere in this monkey business, all bets are off, and you gotta come talk to us, and we'll figure it out on special cases.
Case by case.
I don't think we're gonna run into that terribly often.
I know it's not live, but hey.
But I think that right there covers it. Puts it back on us case by case.
Okay. All right.
You may
I think something needs to be looked at, and I don't know who's gonna fix it.
All right.
It'd be a lot easier to handle on the front end. You're right, than to find out later. You're the dam owner, and you find out you get the letter from DEQ says you're now a high hazard dam.
Well, Lance, I think we can put those on our website. We can plot them all now that we have our GIS up and running. So that's just something else we need to get going.
Primarily, what I would like to see us look at is an alert to the developer that if you desire to develop in an area that could trigger a high hazard dam situation,
we're gonna look to you to deal with the impacts of that as opposed to the landowner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you can say that generally
Yeah.
speaking.
Okay.
Just as a beware developer.
All right.
If you end up in a high hazard dam situation, it's gonna be on you.
All right.
Which would be another advantage to remember back to looking at the 200 acres, the big drainage, having to look at an area bigger than just what
Yeah.
you'll be able to see some of those in the
Okay.
aerial photography and the maps. You'll be able to point that out.
All right.
All right, Jay, anything else?
That's it, man.
Steve?
No.
Jared?
I think I'm good.
Bob? All right, let's move on. Miss Oster. We need to stop and say, do we need to do anything else, Craig, on that as far as taking action, or you've already
No,
got
sir.
it coming up on the
Yeah, we're set for
upcoming?
the 7th.
August 7th.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So
we're
Unless
set.
y'all feel like we need to do more to put the word out, you've already got a notice of hearing, and a notice of public hearing that is.
And we've notified the
Will be-
developers.
You notified the Home Building Association too, didn't we?
Are we doing something on the
Right.
website?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know who else we need to.
Unless we want to
Unless
send
we're
the
doing
final
a reminder.
the final.
I'm sure the
revision
paper
from
might
Alan.
write a story about us doing this, maybe.
We need, we may want to go ahead and put an alert on the website, just so we avoid any argument we didn't know.
Especially with the final revision from Alan right there.
Well, another thing, it's been a while back since we did that. It might not be bad to put it out there that this is, just to alert them, like you said, they say, well, then slip by us, so.
I don't know what more we could do. But this right here was
Hey, put it on
really an
Facebook.
additional
Right.
opportunity,
That's
and
no
nobody's
different.
here except for.
Well, I just thought we all need to get on the same page. I think we all are.
You know who your developers are, and you know, that are pushing it hard in your areas too. You just need to make sure they're aware.
Yeah.
I got a Weavers down there in Greenfield on mine, so I'm gonna let them know, you know, August 7th.
All right.
So,
All right, Miss Oster.
The only thing I have under my section is approval of Rankin County to enter into an annual computer software agreement with Delta Computer Systems and authority to execute the documents. And you can see below the offices and what they're going to for the FY18 budget.
Board,
Yeah.
wish to entertain a motion.
so move.
Mr. Morrow with the
Second.
motion, and a second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay,
Mr.
And you're
Bishop.
going for.
For why?
$60,000 a year is outrageous.
Well, that's where we have discussion.
Well, I mean, I think it's,
And then
we're
alternative is
getting,
what?
we're getting
Yeah.
taken advantage of, but,
50,000, what are you talking about? Which one?
well, those are monthly costs, not annual.
Oh,
Add it all up.
yeah.
And they are. They got us. They've got us over the barrel. And now the thing, unless you've got something we can do different.
Yeah, if you
what
got
is
an
it
option.
like?
I was gonna
You
ask
got an
you,
option?
what is our option,
Yeah.
Jay?
Well, it's nothing nobody wants to look at, but there's other software out there, you know, but I
Are they
guarantee you,
cheaper?
you know, there's a website that you could go out and look at what other counties pay for the same exact maintenance.
Yeah.
And we are a good bit higher than everybody else.
I would say bring it and let's look through it and
Yeah.
maybe
Let's just hold on.
next year, this isn't the time to say, I can understand saying no, I think we can do better than that, but we need more than just.
I need to know more. I mean, I'm
I'd
all
be
for doing
all
better.
for
Jay,
it
it's
if
the first
you
I
got
heard.
it. If we can look
I
at
would
it.
at least like to have them come over here and justify it to us.
Well, is it
You
something
know?
we have to approve today?
Well, we gotta approve it, but I would like, I want them to come here and tell us
Well, then-
why we need to pay them $60,000.
Then why do we need, then we can't approve it today then?
We've had such good luck with our state legislators helping us out. Maybe we could get them to look into what this charge amounts to and why and.
Well, I mean, they
how
get
it
to
is.
bill it for whatever we willing to pay.
They're
That's no difference in the
computer
sheriff. He
systems, yeah.
pays, I bet, over 50, 60,000 a year in maintenance on software. But,
Oh, easy.
you know, he operates 24/7 in a life critical situation. And this is just business.
I'm all for it, really. But say, can we hold it and let them come talk? Do we
If
have
we're
to
gonna
approve it
ask them
today?
to come talk to us, we might want to have some state legislators here.
Do we have to approve it today?
No, it goes in October 1.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
so-
let's just
All right, so
leave it alone.
Craig, my
gotta
senior
back
member of
that
the
up.
board over here has gone kind of getting mixed up just a little bit. We voted to approve it. How do I rescind that?
Make a motion, I make a motion to rescind, to
Yeah.
rescind.
Okay, so,
I'll make that motion.
all right, got a motion to rescind by Mr. Morrison,
Second.
second by Mr. Gaines. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I want them here. I want somebody to come explain to us why we need to pay
Okay,
this
well,
much
we're gonna
money.
set that up
Ms.
right
Law,
now.
are you contacting?
Work session or August 7th?
Huh?
As soon as they can come.
Okay.
Okay. Next availability
We'll
spot.
try to get them here on the work session.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
You okay with that one?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good deal.
I mean, I know they provide a quality service for us that when Laura needs them, she needs them, and they've been there to help us. But, I mean, that's just outrageous.
Well, that's the reason I'm looking to you for that.
Me too.
You're more the computer guru.
All right.
Try to punk us out.
All right, additional business. Mr. Mike Harrison.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's
I
just
thought
my
you got
bad.
hung up.
Huh?
Thought you got hung up when you started.
Motion, vote and everything.
Want to talk to y'all about, Old Fannin Road. We need to, I know we've been trying to do it with our stuff, and it's just, I mean, we're getting it done, but I don't know that we're,
Trying to do with what now? Oh,
we're bush hogging, Old
We-
Fannin,
Oh, okay.
we're bush hogging it and trying to keep the street swept, and it's just a continuous call-in deal on it. So, just kinda looking for some direction. What we looked at was getting a couple zero turns and to keep it mowed and kept up the right way, and
Wait a minute.
maybe talking to City of Flowood and seeing
yeah,
who's contracting their sweeper out.
I would rather go the route of, the city of Flowood is maintaining a portion, I don't know, half or whatever,
Yeah.
with the contract. And before I would buy some equipment and have additional people, I would try to see if we could give the city of Flowood some money during the summer months or grass time and let them maintain the rest of the way before I'd buy
Oh,
equipment.
hang on, wait a minute. The only thing he's talking about buying a couple of lawnmowers. We not
They're
hiring
about-
any more people.
Wait now, they're about $10,000 a piece.
Yeah, they're expensive.
And then you're gonna have to
Then
have
you got
somebody
the
drive
maintenance,
it.
you
And then
got
you're gonna knock
replace
the window
blades.
out. I mean, you're gonna be cutting grass.
You're gonna
Well,
take
there's no
people off the
difference.
regular crews to
Yeah.
cut it, you know.
No.
Yeah.
Why
who's gonna
are
cut
we
it?
having to cut the
Well, y'all let him
grass?
finish. I mean,
Why are we
there.
grooming the whole
Okay.
street anyway?
All right.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm sorry.
We was gonna use the inmates to do the cutting and cleaning of the road. Is what we was gonna use to do that with. But what I was talking about was doing the contract of the sweeping. City of Flowood's contracting out with somebody. I gotta figure out who it is. They're not doing it
That way the
themselves.
sheriff gets paid for the windows to get broke.
Okay.
All right, the sweeping. The problem we ran into one time before, and this is where I want to draw the line. Some of them started talking about, and why are you there? Come on in the neighborhood and sweep this.
No.
I mean, because we're riding our bicycles in the neighborhood too.
Well-
They just, it got out
Well, this is
man,
what
quick.
this I didn't know about the sweep part. I was really talking about the grass cutting and the weed eat. Since we did the reconstruction of road, now if you ride down there and you look on the most sides of the road, we don't have room for a tractor to go down and cut it anymore. So we're going to have to put somebody, a weed eater, down there to get it cut, a good bit of it. So that, and also we don't have the manpower to go and cut it twice a month. Right now, we're doing it monthly, and that ain't cutting it. You know, we got 15 to 20 developments on that road.
They don't cut my
And-
roads monthly.
Well, what other road in the county do we get this much traffic on?
They don't cut mine.
But the problem is that we have 15 to 20 developments on this road, and a good many of them maintain their frontage
I
through
don't
their
see
homeowner
us-
association.
right.
But the
I
rest
don't
of
see us
it,
cutting.
it makes us look like crap that we don't have it cut, and there's weeds
I
2 foot
agree.
tall.
I agree. 2 foot.
So if it's only a, if
They
we're
didn't grow
looking,
2 foot.
our only expense is buying a couple
They
of
didn't grow 2
lawnmowers.
foot in 2 weeks.
Well,
District 5 problems.
I mean,
And two.
And two.
y'all really would not even entertain talking to the mayor in Flowood and seeing what it would cost if they just,
Why would we ask him to do our work for us?
because we won't have to buy lawnmowers and be responsible for windshields knocked out and, I mean.
Yeah, but I think he does, what I've seen, Steve, is I think his crews does, his crews do the mowing, but they contract the sweeping out.
His crews do the mowing?
Yes, sir. So I don't know.
I know
that,
they contract the sweeping. I don't know about the mowing.
Right. But the reason I was talking about sweeping is because we can go sweep it today, and they still complain about it, because it's a curve down through there, and our brooms don't suck it up, so we have to sweep it up.
I've seen them out there with shovels, hand shoveling. I think how, yeah.
So,
I mean, if it's too rock, but part of the deal is because you got these, businesses there, they got these driveways with rocks in them. Maybe we need to address, they need to address that. Their rocks are the one getting out there.
Well, we have, a couple years ago, I did go to, and really it's just one, it's the farmer's market there, because he's got the gravel drive, and
well, the other
since
one right
that
beside it.
point in time, in the auto parts place, the car lot. But most of it was coming from his.
Right.
But after that, I thought he was putting forth the effort to kind of keep it up.
Well, he's got asphalt up probably 7 or 8 feet, but then he's still got a full rock parking lot.
And rocks all the way, yeah, when you go by the rocks all down in it.
Yeah. So, I mean, the best we can do is just ask him to try to maintain it and keep it off.
And we do. I know John spent a lot of time over there as well, so we've had several good discussions over there, so.
Would it help if you asphalted all the way up the slope?
Yeah, it would help it, but I mean, it'd take him in the car lot, I would think. John, wouldn't you agree?
Well,
It'd take
I'm
everything
saying
in that
both
area
of
to
them.
clean that up, keep the rocks off the road, so.
Yeah,
It's dragging out.
I mean, it's not gonna solve it, but it certainly help, because I mean, that's where a lot of it.
Any idea how much it costs contracted out?
Oh, yeah, we had costs and it was high. Yeah.
To sweep and
Actually, we actually already had, I thought, agreed to get
PRV has a
Flowwood
sweeper,
to,
don't they?
well, we got a sweeper.
They use the same sweeper we got.
But I think PRV has one too.
No, they don't have a
vacuum.
suction,
They
they
don't
don't run
I
back.
think if we put some inmates down there, they're there twice a week, and that in combination with our sweeper doing it once a month.
Jay, you gonna cut the grass twice a week?
I mean, twice a month. Wow. Yeah.
Every day, if we cut it
Yeah,
every day. It should
yeah,
be
we're just
fine.
gonna keep
I think
a
it's
crew
gonna be
there.
right.
You know, they're gonna be housed on that road.
Every day, if they just cut it, we should be.
All right.
Even in the rain.
How you gonna haul the mowers over there?
He's got a trailer already.
We got a
Oh, yeah. we
16
got
foot,
trailers.
24 foot trailer.
Got dump trucks, trailers, trucks.
And
Yeah.
I ain't saying we gotta buy $10,000 lawnmowers. I mean, you know.
You gotta have the commercial.
you gotta have them.
Don't get the economy
So, all right, $20,000 expense ain't a lot to be able to get our grass cut.
How much would it cost a summer to get our grass cut if we contracted just our part?
I just asked that. He said it's expensive.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
Well,
sweeper.
they do the
I'm
whole
sorry.
city. The whole city of Pelahatchie is done for $50,000. So could we get it done for $4,500 a year?
Brian, you got something you want
I
to
mean,
ask?
I have 2 X marks I bought last year.
We can have them.
No, if y'all want to use them this year and see how it goes, and I just bought another skag.
God.
Right now I have 3 or 4
What are you cutting?
What are you cutting them? What are you cutting that much grass with?
The safe room.
Okay, all right.
So the same inmates will be using it then?
We'll try that for this year.
How do y'all haul them?
We'll try
Well, I mean, you got your own trailer to haul them? Well, that'd eliminate that. I just don't want to take away anything from our road department that's already.
Well, that's the reason we was looking at this route, because right now it takes about 5 men up there to do it, long arms, different things.
Oh, I watched
2 or 3 days up there.
And it's really
And
difficult
hands
now,
shovel.
man. I mean, it's, if you look, we don't have very much
It's solved.
area.
It's solved.
All right.
All right. The
Brian's
sheriff's
got
already
some
graced you off.
lawnmowers and
Let's
some
try it.
inmates.
See.
We'll try it this year.
When they first came in here, they wanted us to buy
They got a couple
a
months,
sweeper
maybe.
factory.
Back out of it.
It's about $250,000.
2.5.
All right, anything else, Mike?
That's all I have.
Hey, Mike, do we need
Thank you,
to
Mike.
make any mentions on the Hugh Ward issue on the cameras on that we looked at Friday, Slay? Getting the shots.
Let us get out there and evaluate the situation first.
What kind of cameras?
We got some issues right there on Hugh Ward where some of the main storm drains
Same thing.
could be collapsing on the
Same
main.
thing.
Wow.
In the
on-
county
on
right
Hugh Ward.
away.
Man,
Wow.
that's not very
But,
old.
so I guess
Not
our
at
thing
all.
was to figure out the depth of it all. Let's put the cameras in there and take a look at it, so.
Well,
Yeah.
that's something that come back and prove that one now. Okay.
Yeah, we just,
Get a better
let us,
idea.
we're gonna get to evaluate
All right.
what areas need to be done instead of trying to do the whole thing.
All right, thanks, Mike.
All right.
I have two other questions. First one's on our HVAC maintenance contract that's with Environment Masters right now. It comes up for renewal on August the 31st, and I've had two calls on wanting to know if we were going to put it out
I
for
think we should.
bid or not. You know, we just, we're taking on the 4th of August the proposals on, from the energy
Oh.
grant, you know, management, talking about all our different utilities and the savings there. So I didn't know, we still have to have a maintenance contract, but I didn't know with us doing that, and they're going to look at when our units need to be replaced, if we just needed to renew for another 6 months and let us get that,
Find out what we're
find
gonna
out
do.
what we're going to do and what we need to do.
The only problem with that, if some others have reached out there wanting to, I don't know.
How long has it been since we've done it?
Yeah. Yeah, when did we do it last?
2 years?
I've never been involved with, I think Johnny said 2 years.
2 years, because we've been with so many different people, it's not
Yeah.
funny.
Into August, and y'all, if it's waiting this late, I think they were under the impression, it's what Johnny said, that they were gonna continue it. And I started getting all kind of calls last week about it, and I didn't know anything about it.
Heck, how'd they even know it was coming up due?
I don't know, 'cause I had
I don't
some
I
ask
don't
me,
know.
and I told them just call in.
Yeah,
I've
Johnny
had some
brought
just
it up
ask
to
me
me.
random.
Before we get price, we need to know what we're gonna do, though, you know?
Yeah, what the suggestions
I know,
are from
but-
that group.
We could extend it just for 6 months or whatever, you know, and then,
Did you know, do they know when it's coming up? They just said it should be coming up.
They said, actually, he used your name as telling him to call me, the sheriff, and Earldine Road.
Right, no, really, so I've had 3 ask me when that's coming up, and I said, I don't know, just call in and tell Bridget you want to get put on the list to quote it. I had no idea when it came up. I know it came up.
So is 6 months an option, though? It's,
I have never been involved with it. Johnny said it's gonna be continued. He mentioned it a few months ago, and until this past week, I had not thought about it again. 'Cause
Oh, okay.
I don't do
We need to look at the contract
I
itself.
thought it was something that went through you anyway.
Yeah,
That's the reason I've said it to
we haven't
you.
given proper
It may have-
notification.
List of contractors if Johnny needs them, but I've not done it. But if I'm gonna need to, I need to do something
Well,
quickly, or if it expires August, what, you said the
31st is what I think Johnny told me.
Let's extend it 6 months, and then I'll give you time to do your research and do a contract. Would that help?
I'll do whatever y'all tell me. If
I'll
somebody's gonna-
I'll
Well,
talk
they
to
put it
Johnny
the
and we'll
first
look
of
at
the
the
year.
contract.
They put it the first of the year then.
well, just, I mean, really, the only reason putting it off is us deciding what we're gonna do, so
We
we'll
wanna
get
do-
apples and
somebody-
apples.
We wanna do that
That's-
analysis.
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They give us
That's
time
what
to
we
Tell
need.
us within minutes.
Okay, we'll
You checking into
bring that back.
Check,
Yes.
well, and check, see what it actually is, Craig.
It won't take me but just a minute to review the contract and find out what the
Yeah.
extension language is.
But
But it'll give us time also to massage it and see.
Yeah, if we're gonna replace some of these, it's
Yeah.
gonna make the cost go down.
That's right.
Right, because I mean, like I said, I don't know where they came up with it, but I was contacted and saw just on the street, someone asked.
Right.
So I just said, sure, turn it in.
Ms. Laura, anything else additional?
The next thing I need to know is about our budget meeting and the timetable. We don't meet again right now for another 2.5 weeks. That's the 3rd of August. And I think we need to meet within that time frame to get budget work started. Bob's over here going 2.5.
I know budget, but can we wait until August or sometime to do this stuff?
I
We'll just have to load up in August.
I have to have it published 2 weeks prior to September, so middle of August is about done. Okay, I'll just do it myself and I'll tell you what the new budget is.
What's Pat's number? Yeah, whatever you want.
All right, so you want to schedule an additional work session before the August 3rd?
Correct. Next
You're gonna
week
wanna
sometime.
Recess.
I can't,
We
I'm
have
gonna
to
be
recess.
gone some
Recess
next
out of
week.
this meeting to a date certain is what
That's
you're being
correct.
asked.
Well, we have a work session toward the end of next week anyway, don't we?
No.
2.5 weeks.
What's something? I thought something was Thursday, next
August
Thursday.
3 is your work session
Okay.
meeting.
I'm gonna be gone some next week, though. I won't be back, yeah,
All
couple
right, so
days.
Craig, how'd you say that needs to be worded?
We just need to recess out of this meeting to a date certain. So let's figure out what the date certain is, and then we can entertain a
I'm wide
motion to
open
recess.
next week.
26th?
But obviously, I don't have a calendar.
Are you out
but my
Wednesday,
phone
the
is gone.
26th?
Wednesday.
What about Friday?
I'm not gonna be here Friday.
What day is that? The 26th?
Wednesday?
Yeah.
Can't do 27.
I'm out of town Friday.
Yeah, I won't be,
Yeah.
I won't be here Wednesday.
What do you want?
You won't be here Wednesday?
Doesn't matter,
26,
whenever.
I'm wide open 26.
What about
That's Wednesday.
Thursday?
Huh? I can change an appointment on Thursday.
Jared,
I
can you
I
be
could
here
do
Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
The 27th?
I believe that's right. I don't have my calendar, so I can't tell.
27th is Thursday.
Speaking of Shelby County Fair.
I mean, really, I'm like,
Does not matter.
I think.
Morning's fine with me, afternoon's fine with me.
Afternoon makes me, I don't have to change my appointment.
All right, Thursday afternoon.
The 27th?
Yeah, 27th.
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
Okay.
All right.
1,
All right.
going once,
Going twice.
sold at 1 p.m.
We'll see.
1 p.m.
I don't have a calendar. We'll see.
Y'all be good and bored, come on over.
All right, anything else, Ms. Laura, on additional business?
An executive session for personnel, and I promise it won't take but just a
What?
minute.
Okay.
It won't take but a minute. It really won't.
All
Okay.
right, motion to enter
I
into
make a
executive
motion,
session.
need to go into executive session.
Mr. Morrison with a motion for executive session. Second by Mr. Morrow. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Glad to have you today, Mr. Bowers.
All right. Executive session.
How much in advance you gonna get us? Are you gonna give us any information for that Thursday meeting, or we gonna walk into and look at
We
what?
did say 1 o'clock.
So do you, I can get you some information.
Janice put it on my
Hey, we could
calendar.
maybe-
Easier to do the PDF or email or?
Or Bob, if we had an agenda for that meeting.
God, man.
We know what departments
He
we
ain't
want
gonna
to talk
vote for
about.
nothing I got, you know? Everything I bring up, he's shooting down over here. You know, simple lawnmower. They ain't like
Hey, I thought we had talked about it. That was what I was
Yeah,
confused.
gone.
Whenever-
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it, man.
No, we had,
Everything I bring, no, we ain't doing that. Nope, ain't doing that.
I thought that's what we had talked about, and it was a secret that you had talked about.
Anywhere?
Understand.
Well, I get along where you cut your grass,
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
but I'm gonna cut yours one down, you cut your grass one.
Hey, Mike, you wanna help Buster there?
Oh, you got a bunch of plans, don't
We're just trying to get you out of here, Buster. Yeah, son. Come on, Mike. Yes.
Sounds like a personal problem.
I know it.
But Jared done cut out.
He said he's going to the restroom.
Hey.
He can't get on.
Or said we'll take you a minute.
I'm putting her to that too.
See, man.
All right.
That's right.
It's a Beretta, but it's a smaller.
You got a handful, man. Hey, it's not about you, is it? Okay. All right. Nope. Nope. All right. All right. I think so.
One style. Never mess with any of them.
The 9mm that I carry, I mean, it's just. But it's,
Does that make another motion?
All right.
The best one I can.
All right, let's go.
Make a motion, go into executive session, discuss personnel.
Well, Jay's making the motion to go on.
You gotta have it, you gotta get in there. Second. All right, motion by Mr. Bishop, second by myself,
We've already
in
done-
case you knew that.
Yeah.
No,
I
we
didn't know you were back yet. Sorry about that. All right, so.
came by you so fast, you didn't see
Like
it.
lightning, what you are.
Okay.
Flash, what I think you are. All right, so motion for into executive session by
Yes,
Mr. Morrison,
but-
second by Mr. Bishop.
Well, vice versa, but yeah,
Any combination of the matter, I guess.
yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, executive session. Mr. Slay, or Ms. Laura?
Hang on, wait a minute.